Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with episode 222 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Why are you laughing?
I'm just worried something will go wrong. And this is me, Karak with ACG. I was worried I was going to spit my mint out, and I almost did because I was smiling, worried about spitting it out. So, anyway.
I usually start the show off asking how you're doing, but I want to shout some love to you, Karak. You know, because I realized something when I was catching you up on the show, what news we were going to do. Normally, I send you a little DM, I let you know what we're doing, but, you know, you're very flexible with how I run the show, right? Or I wouldn't even say I run the show, but how I prepare the show, where sometimes life happens and I'm not able to send you the notes in advance, and I wanted to thank you. You know, I appreciate your willingness to always work with me. You never get pissed off at me when I slip a little. You're always here to catch me when I'm going down.
Not to you. Not to you. But behind the scenes, no, just joking. No, it's cool. It's cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, no worries. No worries. In fact, I may like it a little bit.
Gives a little excitement to the show.
It does. Because I'm like, what are we getting into? Yeah, I never quite know. And you like to cover some topics I haven't covered, which is cool. So coming in, I'm never quite sure. Yeah. I appreciate it though.
Yeah, of course. Just wanted to give you some love and let people know that if you think this show is good, it's a lot because of my wonderful co-host here. It's definitely like sometimes I struggle to put it together.
I definitely appreciate it. I don't think it's that, but we'll let him lie because it'll make me feel better today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the H.A.M Radio Love Fest. Here we like to spread some love and joy, but also we talk about video game news every week. If you're new here, we've had a lot of new listeners coming in. Pretty much, it's just a weekly roundup of gaming news sectioned off. There are timestamps in the description below. For some reason, I always see the top-rated comment being the timestamps, and I'm like, I diligently, this phone here takes notes every week for at least like hundreds of episodes, and people are still putting timestamps in the description like I ain't doing it. It's crazy. But anyway, so if you want to hop to a different topic, you're able to. We just ask that while you're listening, if you enjoyed the show and you want to support Karak or I, both our Patreons are linked down below. $1 can get you early access to this podcast 2 full days in advance, so you can hear us yakking before everyone else. An extra $2 will put you in the Patreon Discord, where you can get involved in really exciting conversations. You can be a part of the show as we go along. We have questions prepped once more from the patrons to go alongside our news topics for today. So we're building, we're doing some cool stuff, and I've seen a lot of you guys responding to that in a really positive manner. We've received on my Patreon personally like 15 new ones, which isn't like a huge number, but it's great to see a lot of people hopping in and then also wanting to be on the Discord, not just early access. That makes us really happy. Some people have asked why we don't tie in the Discord at the $1 tier with the early access for the show, and the reason for that is just because sometimes people will just pay $1 to fuck with you, and when you put it at $3, it just makes your life a lot easier. To be honest, we don't get any toxic people, knock on wood, but yeah, it's very true. Yeah. So just know, ladies and gentlemen, that's a reason why, in case you were wondering. But with all of that, Karak, any projects you're working on, or shall we get into the show?
No, just reviews. I'm going to do Grid, and then
nice.
I've got, oh, crap. I should be doing it this weekend. I forgot. I'm going to do Concrete Genie.
Oh, Sony. Nice.
That one looks pretty cool. Yeah, it does. And then there's one other one that I'm forgetting the name of, but yeah, some small games. I'm sort of done with those massive ones.
Yeah, it seems like the hardest part of the year is pretty much done. Now we just have Call of Duty Outer Worlds and Doom Eternal. Shenmue 3 maybe for me. Those are the ones that come to mind. So yeah, the September was the hardest part for sure. For me, we did our first thing with the Secret Project just this week, and I'm so stoked with how it's coming out. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, patrons are going to see it actually either tonight or tomorrow. I think because the video is kind of long, so I might spread it out because we're going to do early access for the podcast tonight, Friday, as we record this, and then Saturday I'll probably put up the video so it's a little bit spaced out. But yeah, exciting stuff. I can't wait to see everyone's response to it, and then we'll move forward from there. So we're getting close, folks. Anyway,
this is what I think it is, right? Is this the video?
It's part of it.
It's part of it. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, now with all of that out of the way, let's get into the news. Starting off with some happenings at PlayStation, some really unforeseen, strangely timed, and vague happenings. So we're going to be reading a story from WCCFtech.com that I think has a great summarization, or summary rather, of everything that's been going on there. This article does not include the Japanese portion of the departure, which happened after the same day, mind you, but after Shawn Layden had left PlayStation. So we're going to get into the original tweet and then some reports that came out afterwards. It starts off with a tweet that says, "It is with great emotion that we announce that Worldwide Studios chairman Shawn Layden will be departing SIE. His visionary leadership will be greatly missed. We wish him success in future endeavors and are deeply grateful for his years of service. Thanks for everything, Shawn." And they didn't tag him. They put it out at 7 p.m. at night. It was just out of complete nowhere. And, I'm sorry, actually, I have a name right here. SIE Japan President Atsushi Morita also took his name.
Thank you.
There we are.
Yeah,
sorry, it was right tucked away above. There's nothing else in the article. But anyway, this tweet came out. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Shawn, take care." But there was no blog post, which PlayStation has done historically when it came to anyone leaving. Like Greg Miller posted 4 different blog posts of like when people would leave PlayStation, they had something there. So the tweet sort of screamed like they were trying to get ahead of something. So we're going to keep reading from this article and get into what may be going on there. It seems there is a bit more to Layden's sudden departure, as GameDaily.biz reports the PlayStation team is beset by power struggles and internal upheaval as we head into the next console generation. Long story short, it seems Layden may have been pushed out by current Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide CEO and President Jim Ryan, who's been rapidly climbing the ranks, rising from SIE Deputy President to the big boss in less than a year. Meanwhile, Layden had seemingly been permanently earmarked as leader of Worldwide Studios. Of course, overseeing first-party software production was important, but Layden was definitely subservient to Jim Ryan as overall PlayStation boss, despite Layden arguably having a more impressive track record of success with the company. Take this all with a grain of salt, as Game Daily didn't present any direct quotes to support this portion of their report, but it sure is juicy, and I do agree with that. We're almost done here. Game Daily also reports recent efforts to bring all of the SIE branches under one worldwide umbrella has caused some confusion, as business practices and marketing are very different from region to region. This, combined with the power struggles, has apparently led to a lot of confusion as we head into the next console generation. Information on the PlayStation 5 is apparently trickling out slowly even to the first-party team. So the Sony Worldwide Studios, like your Guerrilla Games, your Naughty Dogs, this is going out slowly to those people, with third parties like, we'll say, Ubisoft, Bethesda, even further behind. An anonymous developer at a major third-party studio, okay, important to note that, third-party studio, had this to say about the situation. "This is the least amount of clarity we've ever had on a new console this close to transition. I believe that the global restructuring is exponentially exacerbating the already difficult process of transitioning to a new generation. And now we're getting nervous, very nervous. Here's hoping Jim Ryan and his team can get their ducks back in a row, because this is the absolute worst time to have the well-oiled PlayStation machine fall apart. Tellingly, Ryan recently vowed to avoid complacency as we march towards the PS5 release. The track record of the incumbent platform winning the next time around is not a great one, so the major thrust of my executive energy is to avoid complacency," is what Jim had said. So that is the article. We read it word for word. I know it was a long read, but I think every bit of information packed in here was very important to start the discussion. So we'll start off with general thoughts. Were you surprised by this? Did you expect it to become this internal power struggle? Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's been there for a long while, has his money, probably ready to just coast into retirement, but it does not seem that was the case.
Yeah, no, I thought it was the case too. Yeah, I am surprised, but then when you start reading about the other person, Jim, and like how apparently like super headstrong he is, and also they fucked up some stuff in their leadership where if you read about what Jim did and about what he did, they overlap. And that's a problem in any business. I've had that in a business where they're like, oh, you're a director, but this person over here is a CEO/director. And you're like, that's going to cause issues because they're You do need, you'll hear people say, oh, a flat power structure works good. Yes, in some companies, but not a worldwide company like that. And then the complacency thing bothers me because my personal opinion is that Shawn was probably believing first party was the best, like the typical Jack Tretton style. And if you look at the other guy, his is more scattered and like a different style of what he may think the next gen should be. So that's actually making me go, if the developers don't even know right now, that's worrisome because, dude, if we're a year out and they don't know, that could cause all kinds of issues.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I thought of. At least it seems like with the Xbox, things have been communicated properly. Maybe it's because Xbox things haven't been in the news cycle, so that could also be the case. But I just started worrying and wondering about PlayStation 5 patches and releasing games on the PlayStation 5 and how long that could possibly take. And will developers now just try to, like, I'll think of a game that's sort of on the straddling the line, like a Starfield, right? Because I remember Todd Howard, they announced it, and then they said, oh, we're not sure if it's going to be next gen or not. And I read this story and think to myself, is that type of game, which I'm sure a bunch of other developers are in that same position? Do we wait for the PS5 and then push it far? But now they know nothing, so they're probably just going to see, can we squeeze everything we can out of the PS4? Right? So that's how I look at it, and I think a lot of companies are in that spot.
I mean, you'd have to look this up, Matty, but I'm assuming Guerrilla Games, when they were working on Killzone, which was a release title, I'm assuming on the PS4 they knew, a year and a half ahead of time where their overall target was. They knew, the ideas about what they were trying to do with the PS4, and it doesn't seem... additionally, I do blame a little bit of the tech weirdness on AMD because they haven't perfected the APU these guys are using. But still... it's pretty crazy to see. And then the Japanese, what was that guy who left?
Atsushi Morita.
Atsushi Morita, another one who left, and it was just announced. Also, by the way, that way of announcing on Twitter, I've done that because I was HR. That almost always means a person is being terminated at the time you're doing the tweet.
Yeah. It seemed
You know why? You know why, Maddie? Because you don't want to tag the person because they may have their phone on in the...
Wow, I didn't even think of that.
Does that not sound dark? But that's, if you're HR, you'll be told, they will train you. They will be like, do not take, you're actually supposed to wait, but the person doing that tweet obviously doesn't work for the same group. So they were given the data, they were told to release it at a certain time.
That's the thing, just even, and this may sound like looking too deep into it, but I'm looking at the tweet now, there isn't even like a picture of like Shawn on stage or representing PlayStation, just a tweet. It looks like like we fired him, we let him go without actually saying it.
Well, remember, Jack Tretton was pretty open about disliking the Japanese versus American style, that there was issues back and forth. He apologized for the hack when Sony told him he wasn't supposed to. And he's never really said if that was any emphasis for him leaving. I don't think it was, but I think it was a sore point because he brought it up in Ryan, what's his name from IGN? Ryan McCafferty?
Yeah.
He brought it up in Ryan's interview. He was like, they told me no, and I just walked out there and said, fuck, I'm just going to apologize anyway. Like, it just only makes sense to apologize. It's our fault. And he was told no. So it does feel like they have these issues between groups. Also, the guy in Europe is in charge of the guy in the United States, even though the guy in the United States is in charge of global games. Like, you're just like,
that's a weird crossover.
Yeah, because Phil Spencer's just like, I'm in charge, and then there's a games guy that I talk to, and then he talks to everybody else. Or we all talk at the same time. Like, it's pretty delineated. You're like, 1, 2, 3. But it seems like Europe's, America and Japan for Sony in particular have issues.
And that may just be a PlayStation-centric problem, because when you think of Xbox, they've overseas haven't been as successful. So, like, I think for them, they're more just, like, America-based. So... Not that they don't go to like the EU and work in that manner, but I think there's a lot less traveling and a demand for separate teams. Like, this is our global team, this is our American team, that kind of thing. So it's just crazy, I think, and I'm itching to see. Obviously, when Shawn Layden talks afterwards, if he stays out of games or he just says, I'm going to go retire now, that kind of thing.
Trenton left, didn't he?
Yes.
Trenton's like completely out.
He's out on, but isn't he working somewhere else, I thought?
No, I think Trenton
Or
like
I'm
does
thinking
investments now or something like that. Like I think he completely left Overall Games. Like, he's just gone.
I think
I'll look him up.
I think I was talking about Adam Boyes. I think he's still in games. That's who it might be.
Adam is definitely in games. He did Extinction for whatever that company is. Sorry, I wrote that in Jack Trenton. Yeah, Adam Boyes definitely went to a different company and stayed. Jack currently is advisory board for Gunna Tour, a San Francisco-based artificial intelligence startup. So he's not even in games.
Wow, that's crazy. That explains, though, because the reason I mentioned that is because, that I think if like he's in games, a lot of his transparency would bank on like, who am I going to impact with this if I'm working here versus I'm not in that industry. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. And that's why, and if Jack basically still did, if Jack said stuff, if this guy leaves, then I do expect, especially the way this happened, at the very least, and maybe he requested it too. I mean, that's one thing we don't know. Mm-hmm. If you have a personal issue on the back end, you may just be like, do this. But it would seem to me like what you should do is get in front of it, have the picture, do the tag. That way there's less of a political, like there's less news if it looks normal. And instead, nothing looks normal.
Yeah,
so,
it's like the writing's on the wall. So
yeah,
reports are sort of confirming suspicions, but obviously right now, take it with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen, because we have nothing concrete to run with, and we probably won't until either a really reputable journalist comes out with something.
Ryan McCafferty has an interview.
Yeah, like the one of like 3 good journalists out there.
Yeah.
That or Shawn Layden himself comments, because he hasn't even tweeted, and he hasn't tweeted in a really long while, mind you, but he hasn't like said like thank you PlayStation or I enjoyed my time at PlayStation, just nothing, like complete radio silence. So
I do have a question for you. Do you also think that there is a chance that E3, right, their lack of this year's E3 and their utter failure last year with all the tech issues and all that stuff, that perhaps there was either something going on or his idea was so grandiose, and then this other guy comes in and is like, listen, you've had 2 E3s. One you did, and there were people cussing at each other over the microphone. There was all this crazy shit. And the second one you didn't even show up for. And it didn't work, or maybe it didn't do what we thought. Maybe there is a chance that somebody just came in and said, you're not working as well for us as we thought. It could be not something crazy. I saw people saying, oh, it must be sexual harassment or something. I mean, Jesus, jump to conclusions much?
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, like, give them a second. Christ. So
I saw on Twitter someone mentioned, like, all the people who have left since PlayStation 4 launched, and it was like pretty much every significant figure there. Yeah. I read it to you. It was like Adam Boyes, Jack Trenton, Shawn Layden, we mentioned, Andrew House. I think that's his name.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right.
I don't know if I was mixing him up with Andrew Ryan too. I was mixing him up with from BioShock.
From BioShock, yeah, definitely not the BioShock.
Yeah, but yeah, all these significant figures have left PlayStation, so people need to be aware of this, because what happens is the winds of change blow through these companies, and new ideas, new mindsets, and not that PlayStation will fall off or disappear or be bad or anything, but just be aware that there's going to be different people calling the shots for PlayStation 5, meaning when you see some probably out of character things, like we've already seen with this tweet, know that may be why. There's new people in charge, and I don't know. We'll see how this generation plays out. I don't want to call a winner yet, obviously. We'll see come E3. I think that's where we can start predicting.
I think they also made some good purchases recently, like Insomniac and stuff like that. So
yeah.
My personal belief is that there's a very good chance that if we find out he knew he was leaving, most likely he was there to stay until the Insomniac deal was done, which does happen at a lot of companies. So if he knew he was leaving, a lot of times they'll say, we're in the middle of this purchase, these guys, and the person's like, will you stay for 3 weeks to finish this purchase? Yes. Or this project? Yes. And then the person leaves quietly afterwards. Unfortunately, that tweet really just lended a ton of problems. It all by itself. Just a shit ton.
And reports don't help. That is for show. All right. We move on to a little bit more positive news, something a little bit more exciting, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to the PC.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So we have a little bit of a write-up from GameSpot that I'll be going through. I promise you it's not as long as the original story we just read about PlayStation. In fact, I'm only going to be reading one blurb that I thought was pretty important, which is that Rockstar says the PC version of Red Dead 2 will feature improvements to take advantage of the hardware, a range of graphical and technical enhancements for increased immersion. Screenshots and system requirements for the game will be shared on October 9th. Rockstar also confirmed that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to Google Stadia as a launch game in November. Beyond a better-looking game, there will also be new content in the story mode. This will consist of new bounty hunting missions, gang hideouts, weapons, and more. So, a single-player expansion. Pretty cool. Not expansion's a very, very generous word. A single-player
But
update.
some content.
Yeah, something that we didn't expect. Red Dead Online will also be included with all the content available on the PS4 and Xbox One versions. Red Dead 2 will be available on several different PC retailers, but not Steam, at least initially. It'll be released there in December. Pre-orders will begin through the Rockstar Game Launcher on October 9th and will include special bonuses if you purchase by October 22nd. So let's see here. In addition to the free game you already get by installing the launcher, pre-ordering Red Dead will net you 2 free games out of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, Bully, L.A. Noire. I almost said Le Noir.
Le Noir.
L.A. Noire, and Max Payne 3. Great game, by the way. Max Payne 3 is fantastic. Rockstar also notes that free upgrades to Red Dead 2's premium editions are available by pre-ordering. And the following pre-order bonuses are the Outlaw Survival Kit for Story Mode, Warhorse for Story Mode, Treasure Map for Story Mode, Cash Bonus for Story Mode, and 50 gold bars. So, that is generally your write-up on Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to the PC. I'll be honest, I don't really care, but I know a lot of people do. So what do you make of this?
I think when they say technical adjustments, the one thing they mean is ambient occlusion, which it was because it was removed or toned down on the first patch on the Xbox and PS4 because it eats up CPU power.
Yeah,
or
I
GPU
remember a
power.
lot of people writing, but Red Dead got downgraded?
Yeah, right, exactly. So I have a feeling it'll be one of those things. And I mean, when you look at that game, dude, that game is pretty fantastic looking already. So
Absolutely.
And I don't think we're going to be running it at 8K on even like I have a 2080 Ti. I don't think I'll be running it at 8K. So most likely what we'll see is like draw distance pushed out. That kind of stuff's really exciting.
What's crazy is that stuff's already good on consoles. So like
that's what I was saying, Matty. Exactly.
Yeah.
Frame rate. Frame rate will definitely be, it'll be nice to play because the Xbox X and PS4 were still 30 FPS. I don't know if a 2080 Ti is going to run that. People don't realize how much more power you need. And so I don't know what you'll need to run it at 60, but I'm sure that'll be like something a lot of people want to hit. Because it didn't feel responsive when you moved the main character around very
there
much.
was like a input lag almost.
Yeah.
Part of that was for animations. It seemed like there was that slight delay.
Yeah.
I'm
excited for it graphically.
Controller description, like a
bag full of wet dicks.
Yeah,
or vinegar-soaked wet dicks. Yeah, and that is what some of them move like. I think Stadia is more interesting for me, and the reason why is because Matty, if that looks good, right? Let's say the Stadia version. Let's say you have good internet. I feel like I'm just adding "let's say" to everything, but let's say you have really good internet, and then you download and you're streaming it, dude. If that looks good and the lag is still somewhat not super bad, it's already slow game anyway. He already moves sort of slow. So I don't know if the people who are going to be playing that are going to notice another 10 milliseconds of lag. Mm-hmm. But what if you get an amazing looking... Like, I personally feel this is like better than some of the other titles we've guessed might be on, like Odyssey. I think Odyssey, your character moves quicker, a little bit more quick twitch that you need. You're not doing a lot of hand-to-hand. Right. So what if the Stadia version, if they nail that, that could be, I'm not saying a killer app, but it could be quite exciting because people could look at it and go, fuck, you're kidding. For $9, I can, scratch that. You have to buy it anyway, don't you?
Yeah. See, the thing with Stadia is they don't offer enough
Stadia confuses
options.
me.
It's just it's not set up to succeed. That's the thing. And I think they're way ahead of their time with that system. Because, you can already... The games industry is heading towards streaming games. You know, we see it with PlayStation now, and it's I wouldn't call it its infancy, but it's not the best example.
Yeah.
But you can also play games locally, so you have the option there to do either or.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'd go out of my way to buy a box just to say, hey, I'm going to stream this. Because
I forgot. It doesn't even make sense to me to have to buy it on Stadia. So I literally this entire time forgot you have to buy it again.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's my fault.
It doesn't have that
hook.
Yeah, like
financial hook.
Yeah, the Switch, I can justify a second purchase of the same game because I can play it anywhere.
Yep.
Take it with me. With the Stadia though, it's like, what do I get? Maybe, but the thing I would say, like, oh, maybe if it's just a little box you can take with you, you can take it to a hotel, but then like hotel internet, you think it's gonna play a Stadia?
Dude, it fucking sucks. People don't realize hotel internet sucks. Donkey dick.
Yeah, and, even if you're paying for the most expensive one, like I usually have to do that if I'm traveling to an event and I want to upload while I'm there, and even then, oh my gosh, it reminds me of a story actually. Okay, so I'm at the hotel for The Outer Worlds, and I recorded my footage. And what I usually do after these events is I go back and while the event is fresh in my mind, I will work on at least one video. Usually my honest opinion video, like right off the bat. I have my notes from when I was during my session. I'll revise them, add anything else. And so I sit down, I record it, I go to start editing, and I realize my internet's out. So I'm like, ah, shit, you know, that's not good. But like obviously there was no rush. I had like 2 weeks, so I was just kind of killing time at this point. So I call the front desk, or I go down to the front desk because my phone didn't work. First thing, my phone didn't work. This hotel room was falling apart. So I go down to the front desk. I'm just like, hey, internet in my room's not working. And they're like, okay, no problem. We'll send up a technician. They'll help you out, get your internet going. They'll be there in 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I go in my room. I go to the bathroom. You know, I go to wash my hands. And I actually accidentally pull off the towel rack. So like I said, room's falling apart still. And then, you know, after 30 minutes, I hear I'm like, okay, you're a little late, but fuck it. I just want my internet. That's fine. So he comes in. He doesn't even come in. I'm sorry. I open the door. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, is your internet working? And I'm like, no, it's not. Why? Like, this is why you're here, right? And he's like, all right, I'm going to go get someone to help you out. I'm like, and he walks away. I was just standing there stunned. Like, what the fuck do you mean you're going to go get someone? Aren't you the guy who's supposed to help me? And so he walks away, and I shut my door. And then eventually my internet never comes back on, and no one came. No one came.
Best service ever. And you broke the bathroom.
Yeah, and I broke the bathroom. The towel rack, yeah. It was incredible.
Dude, I uploaded a video from hotel at GDC, and I would say for like a 700 megabyte video, because I purposely bit rated it really low, was hours. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty sure my cell phone outside, if I had hotspotted it, it might have worked better.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember trying to upload at a Super 8, which, you know, I know. Well, I was staying at a Super 8. That's my own loss, right?
Hey.
We were trying to save some money. But, I tried to use their internet there, and that didn't work. And so I actually had to go to the QuakeCon, like, where the Gaylord Texan Center, and I had to go to Bethesda's media room anytime I wanted to upload.
Oh, but did that work?
Yeah.
I would assume
it worked.
so, right?
Just like on our last day of our trip, we actually had to go to the convention center just so I could leave my laptop there and have it upload like all my content, because we were gonna like travel back and whatnot, and so I wouldn't be around to make stuff. And so I had to like leave my laptop there, and it just uploaded a bunch of videos.
One of these days, you and I need to sit down and tell funny stories, because I can tell the story about a prostitute trying to get me to take her to my room at one of the events, and just the crazy shit that happens at those events, and the shit hotel rooms, like Super 8, dude. If somebody bitches about that, it's like, you don't realize how expensive those places are when you visit, because everybody raises the price anyway. A burger was like $22 when we went to the local place. So we were like going to the 7-Eleven, this beat up nasty 7-Eleven, and getting like Pop-Tarts, you know, I mean, anything that was super, and that was still like $6 for, you know, 4 Pop-Tarts or something. It's just, people don't realize how expensive those events are.
Oh yeah. I remember I went to my first ever event. I went to San Francisco for Far Cry 4, and I guess this doesn't really have to do with hiking up the prices, but like going out of my way for food, because this hotel didn't have a vending machine in it anywhere. And so it was like 11 at night, And me and my best friend, being complete morons, are like, let's walk out into the middle of the city that we've never been into at this time of night. And so I remember walking to this beat up like convenience store, getting a drink, and on my way there, I saw a cop running down like 3 people. And then on my way back, right outside my hotel, some guy was like had his shirt off and he was getting arrested against the cop car. I was just like, holy shit, man! Like,
It's San Francisco, baby.
yeah, right. I was shocked. I shouldn't have been. I was dumb.
San Francisco has some good stories, crime and stuff like that. And where you stay can be 1 block away from the scariest part of town.
I think that's exactly what happened, because like during the day I was like, oh, this is really nice, huh?
Did you go when you went to Ubisoft's? I went to a slightly underground building.
Yeah,
for the Watch Dogs one. Dude, yeah. I think I might have stayed like very close to where you did, because it was like nice place, shit hovel, and then like a courtyard, and then on the other side of this courtyard where all these musicians would be playing like street instruments was this slightly underground building where they had the Watch Dogs event. So I bet you it's there. It must be like their major place to rent and do these events.
Yeah, because I know what you're talking about, because I remember like walking around and seeing actually very, very popular YouTuber now. Some people may be familiar with Noah J456. He was at this event. This was way, way, way before his channel like completely exploded. He had like 100,000 subs, and I bumped into him and I was like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" Shook his hand, and we're like looking for this spot for the event. You know, we walked there and we're using the Google Maps, and we're just in the middle of this random street, and then like some Ubisoft employee walks up there like, "Hey, follow us," and like we walk down this steep hill, take a right into this pretty much like a construction area where it's just this like empty warehouse almost. And
that's exactly the place.
Yeah,
that's exactly the place. That's funny. I didn't know we went. That's crazy. I mean, it would make sense, but
you know, they got to cut costs too, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to play Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC, it'll be happening soon.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us for our stories.
Thanks for coming.
We still do have a question, though, and this one comes from Kopi the Kitten. He asks, Red Dead Redemption 2 seems to be releasing simultaneously on the Rockstar launcher and the Epic Game Store, and then Steam a month later. Seems like Epic is just losing out at this point. Most people who would want the game would buy it on the Rockstar launcher, and anyone else would wait for Steam. Why would Epic pay for a month's worth of exclusivity that doesn't seem to be worth it? And that's a good point, I think, Kopi, because I don't know why they do that. Maybe I'm thinking too narrowly, but it's on another launcher, so it's kind of like the Outer Worlds, right? Where the Outer Worlds has Epic Game Store, but now it's on Microsoft's Windows Store because Microsoft owns them. So it's like, okay, you could split it up that way, but you're not going to get it for Steam. But in the case of Rockstar, it's coming out on Steam just a month later.
Ubisoft does same day release on both Epic and Uplay. So my assumption amount, I'm sure it's not anywhere near what they pay like an indie to release their game fully exclusive. But I think with Rockstar also, it's that launcher thing, and Rockstar maybe like has no problem sharing the the bandwidth a little bit while they get their shit fixed, because this launcher just came live last month.
Yeah, and you know what I'm just thinking of now is Rockstar probably looked at it in a sense of, they're obviously getting paid for the exclusivity, sure, but they're also probably looking at it like, which by the way is crazy. Think of how much money Rockstar and Take-Two has.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised, because Take-Two's literally put anything they have underneath them on the Epic Game Store, because the money there is just ludicrous. But perhaps Rockstar looked at this and said, okay, now people have to choose in that first month between 2 launchers. They'll come to ours.
Yeah.
Could almost like drive them some business inadvertently.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. I just think it's not the amount people probably, have been hearing about with like the indie titles. It's probably nowhere near that amount of money. Dog, shut the fuck up. Sorry, he was breaking up my thought process. But if it's only a month, I would assume, it's probably just a small amount of money, and who knows why. Like I said, they just started that launcher. There's been some issues with it. Maybe there's a deal that they do this and test it now. Like Microsoft does weird releases with Epic too. So to me, it's not at all like, I don't know what the term would be. Well, also remember, Maddie, they get nothing for Steam. Now that I think about it. So if I said I'll give you $1 or this person will give you nothing, but we will both
So
offer
it's
you the
more
same
options for them to
thing.
make money. Okay.
Yeah. So to me, maybe they're just, I mean, I don't know. Like maybe they wanted to release on another platform anyway, and they were just, I mean, because there is a lot of people don't even have the Rockstar launcher anyway. I mean, how many people? Yeah, I don't even have it installed on my PC yet. So maybe those people, they're just like, well, we'll capture them with Epic. I don't know.
Yeah. Could be. Anyway, Kopi, great question.
Yeah.
And we got another story. This time it has to do with Fallout. So yes, there was a Fallout Legacy collection that leaked a couple of days ago. Pretty much what it was you'd see Fallout 1, 2 Tactics, Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. Everyone's like, oh my god, if this comes to consoles, this will be amazing. And it was just confirmed today, Friday, as we record this, that this is in fact a legitimate product, which we all pretty much knew because it was on GameStop, it was on the German Amazon website. So we knew it was going to happen, but it was confirmed as PC only and in the UK and Germany only. Now, I did a little bit of digging for a video that I uploaded today on Friday as well. And I found out that actually Fallout 3 was banned in Germany for about 3 years. So I feel like
because of the Brotherhood.
I don't know what it was actually because I read that the reasoning, like I'm saying, like what they saw and directly said no to, because the reasoning was they thought it was bad for minors, like it was not good for minors to play that game. And I was there was no like specific reasoning other than that. And then I ended up learning that IGN fought for Bethesda to get this game unbanned in Germany. So I think this game's been available for a while in Germany to purchase and play, but now this is another route for them to access the entirety of the collection, because it was just a Fallout 3 ban. I don't think it was a problem in the future with other titles. But I was reading forum posts and stuff, and people were like, I'm German and I can't play the game kind of thing. So I was very surprised by that. Anyway, Fallout Legacy only on PC. What is your just general takeaway?
So what you're saying it's only on PC and it's not in America. It's only in Germany and only in where?
UK.
What sense does that make? Am I missing something? Is it just because they think it's not fixed, it's not like remastered? Are they just? I don't understand.
You're on the same page as everyone else. As someone who's in the thick of it, I guess I've had time to process it more. But yeah, what they're doing doesn't make sense. The only reasoning that people have come up with, myself included, is behind me. You can't see it, but I have this like mini nuke. Yeah. And it's the Fallout Anthology. And inside it is Fallout 1, 2, 3 Game of the Year,
right.
New Vegas Ultimate Edition, Tactics, and then a slot for 4. But 4 didn't come out at the time of its release. I think it came out in September, 2 months before the game came out. So actually the Bethesda account that announced this Legacy Collection said the reason they were doing this, or the difference between this and the Anthology, was that 4 is included. And it's also a lot cheaper. The Anthology was like $90 or $100, and this is like $40, and it's all the games. It's not like you're buying the nuke. So that's the difference, but at the end of the day, you're not wrong with how you feel, where a lot of us are just going, why? Like, why are you doing this? Why now? And also I found through a viewer, they're doing what's called the Bethesda RPG pack, which is Skyrim Special Edition and Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition together for €30. Once again, this was found on the German Amazon site. So I don't know why they're suddenly making this big EU push. I feel like something had to have happened where they're like, okay, now we can start moving more units there. But like, for example, that Bethesda RPG pack, it might exist in the States already. Someone can correct me on it. But if it doesn't, I don't know why that wouldn't come to the States. Fallout Legacy, sure, whatever. But like the RPG pack, if I could get for like $40 both those games, and I've never played either of them before, which, believe it or not, a lot of people haven't yet, that's a stupidly good deal for 2 good games.
Yeah, I'm not quite getting it. I mean, maybe I'm Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not understanding
Well, here,
whatever their push is.
let's talk it out. So we'll start off with where the confusion begins. For you, is it why they're releasing it?
Why are they not releasing? Why are they just releasing it in these two distinct areas? Like, if it was a solitary kind of thing, it wouldn't just be Germany and UK. It'd be like, oh, Germany, UK, Australia. You know what I like? It'd be it's a small target. Not that the UK is small, but it is when you think about there's all these other places that it could release. So I think your idea is right that maybe it has something to do at minimum with the original banning. And then you said kids, right? I can see why Germany might think that, especially in VATS when you blow somebody's head off and it in slow motion flies off their body. Like, I know, knowing the German censor board and how and we have German people in your Discord and mine.
Right.
That does, I can see, I know that they would probably go, yep, that's Germany for you. But why the UK?
No, this is strange. My only reasoning was, okay, maybe the Fallout Anthology didn't come to Europe. But Eurogamer has an article. Fallout Anthology brings 5 classic RPGs to Europe in October, and this was July 23rd, 2015. Fallout Anthology has just been announced, grouping 5 beloved post-apocalyptic RPGs together: Fallout 1, 2, Tactics, 3, Game of the Year, New Vegas Ultimate. And there's an extra slot for 4 when it launches on November 10th. And then it mentions a U.S. price of, it was $50. I'm sorry. That was not a lot at all. That was a great deal. I'm happy about that. Yeah, man, I don't know. I really, and the story, understandably so, hasn't gained any traction outside of like the Bethesda community, because people are like, all right, whatever. It's not what we hoped it was, and I don't think, like, outside of my community, how many people just hold their hearts in like the idea of Fallout 3 coming to PlayStation 4, for example. But I think it's just disappointing, and I think we can't blame our expectations, because when you see a collection, like, how often do you see a collection of beloved games go exclusive to a platform, exclusive in a country?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, there's got to be something we're missing, and it's surprising that so when the initial press announce came out, let's say it was due to whatever reason, you would think they'd say, hey, this anthology's here, thanks to the censor board, we're now accepted in Germany, or so. I don't know, but you would think there would be an excerpt there on a tweet saying, now finally available in the UK and Germany, or whatever. But instead it's like, this,
please stand by for pre-order.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's completely odd to me.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a reason. It's just right now I cannot fathom what that would be.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something that makes sense, because it's a very weirdly timed push of German products out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But the UK only is really strange, especially because it's a digital release. This isn't a physical thing. It's a digital release. That's why it just doesn't really make sense. 2R3M asks us, it's just got to be a matter of time at this point before the Legacy Collection gets released on consoles, right? And what do you think of that? Would you like to see that on consoles?
If it was what one? Legacy?
Yeah, like 1,
what
2...
game? Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm not familiar with what was in Legacy. So that, though, if you're talking about the original Fallout 1 and 2 as turn-based point and
also
click,
3, New Vegas, and 4.
Oh, everything?
Yeah,
but to be honest, Matty, if they're going to do that, I honestly feel that Bethesda is at a point now where they shouldn't just do that. They should include bug fixes and because here's what I don't want. I don't want what we've got with other Skyrim releases where they still haven't fixed the same fucking bug from day one, right?
Right. That's in now 4, and then it carried into 76.
Exactly. And so what I would like to see is if they are going to do that, they're like, okay, we're going to do it, but it won't just be the Legacy Edition. There'll be some fixes. Dog, shut up. There'll be some fixes. So I'm not as behind it as other people would be. I wouldn't want it just packaged up and resold back to us. I would want it packaged up and them to say, these improvements are included with Fallout 4. These improvements are included with Fallout 3. But that's just me wanting a lot from Bethesda. Probably more than they're willing to give.
I was going to say, it's probably more than what they're willing to give. I'm at the point where I'm just like, just give me a port. Like, if it comes with the bugs, That's how I played it for 10 years. In the case of like Fallout 3, I can deal with
So
it.
you just want Fallout 3 on the new consoles?
Well, the way I look at it is this, and I learned this over time because in the heat of Fallout 4, everyone was a big Fallout fan. Then immediately after, no one really liked Fallout outside of New Vegas. And as the dust has settled after 76, I'm learning how many people. I went to a wedding just a weekend ago, and I found out that this woman's first Fallout game was Fallout 76. And I've been hearing stuff like that a lot, which, yeah, God bless her soul.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I've been hearing that a lot, despite its how popular the franchise is. And I keep thinking, the amount of people who have not played Fallout 3 or New Vegas, it has to be staggering, you know. And so the originals, I saw, it's just a rumor, but I saw that the source code was missing for these games. So I don't know, you know, how easily it is to just port that over, because then Bethesda would just have to remake it, which would take a lot more than I'm sure they were willing to do once again. But Fallout 3 in New Vegas, man, I mean, I wish there was a package of that on current consoles. Not only because I just want it and I want to play it, but there's just so many people I feel who still haven't experienced it.
I think one of the issues that might be holding them back is the Xbox versions are not only backwards compatible, they're enhanced. And so if you have the X, you get like anisotropic filtering and hugely improved anti-aliasing. So for one
Quicker
console,
load times too, right?
Quicker, yeah. So for one console, and I'm not saying it's the most popular console, I'm just saying for one entire group. For example, I just reviewed Ghostbusters, and the exact same problem occurred with Ghostbusters today. Is that if you'd be selling into a group that already has the same version, just with some slight alterations. And I don't know, maybe they're looking at it and going, it's popular, but where do we want to put our resources? And maybe the port for PS4 is hard to do. Remember, the PS3 port wasn't very good, Matty. So yeah, so like maybe the one that they want to do, PS4, like maybe they're looking at it going, we'd actually have to like redo all the memory allocation because of save game bugs. Maybe they're just like, eh. But Skyrim special editions came out on the consoles, didn't they?
Yes.
I don't, man. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I just know that a lot of people have experienced the Xbox backwards compatibility version. So ignoring the Xbox side, I don't know why they wouldn't do it for the PS4 because they're close with Bethesda too. I mean, so is Microsoft, but it seems like Sony might be like, here's a couple ducats. Let's get Fallout on the PS4. It seems to me like that would make sense.
I agree.
Weird. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know.
Really weird. Well, hopefully it'll make its way to consoles eventually. I feel like it's only a matter of time just because so many games are like these next set of consoles are kind of designed to be like, okay, this is like your PC
fully backwards.
Where everything's here. And so I think that's why you're starting to see more companies go to remaking like a Resident Evil 2. It's like that's going to forever be the definitive Resident Evil 2 now.
Oh, for sure.
And like porting stuff over and saying, you know, we're not going to remake this. We're just going to bring this so that it's available for everybody. It's just strange when you see Bethesda bring back Doom 1, 2, and 3, and you're like, those are fucking old, okay? And those are on all systems, but no Fallout? That's something I forgot to bring up in my video, and that's like one of the most valid points of all. It's like, why?
It might be tech then. Maybe
it's got to be.
Maybe there's something with those save because they did have all kinds of issues. Maybe they're just like they don't want to dive into it.
Yeah, and that's no disrespect to Doom, by the way, because Doom is great. I actually want to replay Doom 3. I've played the first Doom so many times, but I want to replay Doom 3 because when I first played it, I was expecting Doom 1, you know, more fast-paced, but then I found out it was kind of like a creepy game, and I bitched out because I just was younger at the time, so I was like, fuck that. But I think I'm ready now, so I kind of want to pick that up. But that is off topic. So now, Karak, we get into your favorite game of the year, man. There's one that you've just been talking about so highly on Twitter. We're going to talk about Ghost Recon.
Hell yeah. Ghostbusters. Oh, no, you mean Ghostbusters.
So let's hear it. I was offered a code by Ubisoft a good amount in advance, and I just didn't feel good about the game. I really wasn't interested, so I declined the code. And I'm happy I did, because that game does not look fun. It looks like exactly what you and I bitched about with Wildlands. Are you going to prove me wrong here and make me give it a shot, or...
No, I said rent or deep sale. Like $5 or $10 might be worth it, because a lot of people
wow.
Dude, and I see people on different forums who are actually having a great time, which is exactly what happened with Wildlands, where I was like, "You're having a good time," but I once, and that's cool and everything, but yeah, I just, dude, it is like I think $5-10 is a fair price. Like, it's at least right now,
so
it's got
sad.
some, dude. How'd you feel about Wildlands? You said just hold off to everything, right? Did you
I
give
would
it
not
like
recommend. I would not recommend that game to anybody,
okay,
just because I thought it was so boring. Like it
okay.
had content, bang for your buck, but it was just nothing. Nothing of it was fun to me.
So so I would say I probably, if on a like a scale of 1 to 100, you were probably at a 10% enjoyment. I was probably at 11 for Wildlands. Now, with this game, I'm at a 10. And the only reason it didn't get a like a never touch is because it does work. It does. I mean, it does. It does work, and it's got beautiful landscapes to run around. It's got some fun shooting at times. But dude, if there's ever a game that looks like every item from every other game has been mashed together into one, that is this game. It is crazy. It is Division, it's Wildlands, it's Assassin's Creed, and then
like a lot of
all
assets.
of it, just the ideas, the inventory
Oh.
of Division, the HUD of this, the gameplay style of this, they're all smashed together, and instead of Ghost Recon, you get Ghost Assassin's Creed Wildlands. And you're just like, okay, what do I do? How do I unpack this? It was actually so difficult to unpack everything that was going on the screen and all the different systems that it's the first time I think I've ever taken notes where I'm like, okay, so for example, you get items like, you like Division 2?
Yeah, I thought that
Or
was a
did you
great
play?
game. That was a great game.
Right. Okay, so, and you know the gear system. So you got
Yeah.
Division 2, you got the gear system, you know what you're buying into. This one's got the same type of gear system, but they did something I thought was cool. Headshots still kill enemies. However, then that neuters the real reason for the fucking gear system. Because what happens is it's there, but if you're one of those people that's like shooting heads most of the time, which I think we all are.
In those types of games, yeah.
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've got a really low gun, but I'm still like laying waste to people who are fucking 3 times my level. So you usually just wait for the type of weapon. If you like an M16, you don't care about the other guns. You just wait for another M16. And I think what happened in Division, sorry, I have a fly in here. I think what happened in Division is you got an M16, but then a UMP comes up and it does more damage, and you need that. So you then go to the UMP. You're like, okay, I need this, even if I don't love the gun. And what happens is, at least with Division, I tried guns I would never try before because it had more damage. And I'm like, oh, I sort of like the P90 in this game. Like, that's great. You don't do that ever in this game, ever. You're just like once I found a gun I liked, I was just I'm just going to shoot heads until I get the next version of this gun I like, which is a higher level. And and when you upgrade one base type, your M4, with upgrades like range and skill or range and headshots and all that, it actually adds to every other gun in that M4 category. So it's very weird. So instead of upgrading a gun and then the next M4 you get, you need to work to upgrade that, it's actually fully upgraded because you've upgraded the base M4. It's weird. So you're just like, what am I doing this for?
That just doesn't sound like good game design.
That it's not. It's not. But what's funny is, if you know that, like I always tell people, forewarned, you'll probably enjoy this more than me, because I had to go into it blind. Like if you were reviewing it, you go into it blind, and you have to. Right. But if you get to warn people, then the people who might like that are like, okay, I know what they're saying now. But guess what? It's still fun to shoot, and it is. It's also got very bad sound. I'm telling you, Matty, it is the weirdest sound I've ever seen. I had the Borderlands sound guys on today's podcast, and even they were agreeing. If you have your headphones on, you can hear a dude 400 yards away like he's right in front of you.
That's oh my god,
it's broken.
So
when you're trying to stealth, you're like, is that guy here, or is he at the complex that is over a hill? And he is. Half the time you'll be like, I'm firing. I'm going to kill this guy in front of me. I'm not going to worry if this dude's near me. I'm going to worry about it if he pops up. And you'll fire nothing. And you'll be all, but he's talking. I can hear him talking about like the company, the evil company. You'll walk up over the hill, nobody there. You'll swim through a pond You'll go up over another hill,
Can you
and
still
there's
hear
a
'em underwater?
barricade.
Or does the water not cut out?
Water muffles everything.
Okay.
So it does
So
the
you can
sound
still hear
effect.
them kind of talking, but
I
it's muffled.
think you probably can, but I didn't pick
Yeah,
up.
it's very
That I
specific question. So
Yeah. But it's just it's odd. And yet at the same time, going in and killing people is still fun, or can be, with co-op. And I actually admit I enjoyed the PvP, which I never thought I would. So the PvP balances out your inventory, obviously. So like
Right.
you can't buy yourself into success.
So Division 2 does that as well.
Division 2 does that. And yet I got a good group one time, and even though I died second out of 4, you get to, you ping your enemy if you see them. You can help them because you're a drone almost, and you can like look around and help people on the ground, like with so you feel sort of invested in what's still occurring. You're not just like, please just reload the fucking, the level. Like, I hope this guy dies. And that was fun. I mean, not amazing, but was enjoyable. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was enjoyable. But yeah, it's a mess. And the AI, dude. So did you know that they patched down Division's AI? I found this out.
Really?
Did you know that?
No,
Division...
I actually hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
Once I finished Division 2, that was a game I really liked. I'd still recommend it to people. But I tell this story all the time. I literally got to the end game screen, right? Like they repopulate the map. They're like, you can replay these missions, you can replay that. I'm like,
right.
I have no interest in that, and I just stopped playing. I literally just stopped. I was like, this was a great game, but I'm done. And so I haven't seen any of the patches, patch notes, updates. I saw the trailers at E3, but that's as far as it goes.
And you reviewed it same time I did.
Yeah.
Right? So when we played it with normal difficulty. From what I understand, and I found this out yesterday.
Did I review
or
it?
prior to the... I thought you did, or you did an Impressions, one of the two.
I think I did. Yeah, sorry, keep going. I have to check.
No, that's all right. So, from what I understand, when I looked it up prior to the review, the Division 2's AI was really fairly good, and actually in some places a little powerful, so they patched it down. And what feels like is going on here is they patched it even lower.
I actually did not.
It's pretty easy.
We talked about Division 2 with Colin when he came on. That's what it was.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we went in on it. Because I know he liked the game a lot. Yeah, that's crazy. That's sad because Ubisoft. That's when you know they're clearly like a very much like a global team, because you'll have something like Division 2 where you're like, this is good, or Rainbow Six Siege, and then you'll have this, and you just go, what happened?
I'm glad you mentioned that though, because I've seen people be like, Ubisoft is fucked this game, and then some people said there were some Division 2 issues when it launched. I was fine, but people were like, oh, this indicates a problem. I'm like, you don't even realize how development works at Ubisoft, do you? Like, dude, they've got massive teams all over the world. This is a different team, just like Syndicate made Odyssey. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, to me, this just indicates whatever team put this together liked everybody else's shit.
Yeah.
and smashed it together, and it didn't turn out.
In all fairness, and this is not to discredit any developers, but I mean, look, we saw how we talked to the point of redundancy of how boring we thought Ghost Recon Wildlands was. We called it Boring Lands. We just roasted the game up, but it still sold stupidly well. And you just have to wonder. We were talking about complacency earlier with PlayStation, but was there some here with Ubisoft where they're like, why innovate? Let's just take everyone else's ideas. And by everyone else's, I mean within their own company, and just mash them together. Because
I think it makes sense.
That's what Far Cry sort of started to develop into, and I didn't
very
like
much
that.
so.
That's the thing. Far Cry was very fun, and then it started to just become this culmination of unoriginal ideas from other games put into theirs.
And while you didn't like it, it's funny you mentioned Far Cry, because I did talk Abzy into playing Far Cry Primal.
Oh, you fool.
And one of the reasons why he liked it, he loves it, but here's why. Because it is not in the line of Far Cry's. It's prior.
That makes sense.
So even though, for whatever reason, like, you didn't like it and others did, you're not the only one. Like, people didn't like it. What happens is it's a break from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I would probably like him more now. I'll be honest. I know we joke about it, but I would probably like it more now. Just because
and
at the time it
doesn't
felt
feel
like
the others.
Flawed execution, but now it's like, oh my God, something refreshing.
Yeah, look back and go, man, we had it good.
Yeah.
It's and Far Cry 5 and New Dawn, I in particular felt those issues were cropping up. On the other hand, Odyssey, I felt that they nailed it.
Yeah, God Almighty. Yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, I wanted this game to be good, but Ubisoft's had like a good number of launches pretty consistently throughout the last 2-3 years, where I think they were kind of due for a pretty big dud like this. But I just didn't like how quickly people and it deserves its scrutiny, its criticism, and we'll get into microtransactions because we actually have a question based off of that. But they deserved all of that, but like people were very quick to just hit them with like the Ubisoft was never good, they're going down the tubes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hold on. Like, we can have our talk about time savers in Odyssey and Origins, absolutely. But like Odyssey was still a fucking great game. That was a really good game. We could talk about Siege and how scaling with rewards and how much the game gives you for playing versus just paying for a pass gives you. I get it. Like there are valid arguments, but I just feel like Ubisoft is a very underappreciated company for the space they're in, AAA. And I even talked to a developer working on an unannounced project at Ubisoft. He's a game director there, and he was saying like, I love working here. Like they treat their employees right. I'm very happy here compared to other studios. So, and that's something I hear a lot about Ubisoft, which you don't hear about some of your favorite developers, even if we get good games. So I just think Ubisoft sometimes gets a bad hand. I'm not leaping to the defense of Ghost Recon, but just a little something to think about for folks.
And just because you and I talk to a particular group, for instance, this, a review may do a couple 100,000 views. When you look at like everybody, that's such a minute amount. And then of all those people, some may just agree on some things. Some may just go, okay, forewarned. I still had people, look at my review and be like, I get it. I get every complaint you're saying, but I'm still loving it. My Facebook is filled with that, by the way. On the Breakpoint, yes. The very first post was like, this is so completely true and like objective of a review, and yet I'm having a blast. And then the very next person was like, agreed, all of these issues exist. I'm still having fun. And that's why fun factor, I think, matters, because we've all liked a shitty game or a not great game. It's okay.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. There are some games that I'll say Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is probably the best, most recent example of all of that, because holy crap, man, that game is so fucking messy. I think like the way the story's delivered, like I just think that game's very bad in a lot of ways, but it's just very fun to play.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Anyway, as my dogs howl to the heavens about how much they can't stand Ghost Recon, we will now get into microtransactions, which, as you can tell, they're clearly very angry about. So this question comes from R. Jamie, and he asks, he states, there's another YouTuber I listened to that covered the micros and Breakpoint, and he said something that I agreed with, but I want to know what you guys feel. He said that if you defend this kind of monetization in games, then you're a part of the problem. I totally agree with that, because I talked about this with a friend of mine, and he argued that it's not a big deal because other games have over-monetized in the past, and that as long as he doesn't buy any of them, it's more or less harmless. I couldn't even argue that, because in a way I can see that it's valid, but in the bigger picture I feel like it just doesn't work. What do you think? Very good question.
Yeah.
How can I start? I think what your friend said is true. Part of the reason microtransactions exist is because a company sees that people are buying them and goes, oh, more money on top of just game sales. Because it's almost like a static market at that point when it was originally just here's the game, here's your money, and that was the end of it. There was no like updates, expansions, anything. You just paid for the game and that was it. And so it's sort of an evolution of the business to make more money, which I'm not justifying, but I don't blame companies from a business owner perspective for putting microtransactions in, because it is so much stupid amounts of money that they make on top of it, and it does alleviate some developmental pressure at times, and it does allow for a bigger budget in the future. But then you look at we'll use Greedfall. You look at a company like Spiders, where each game got bigger, more pretty, pushing that boundary of AAA more, but did not cave into microtransactions. So I see those games, and because they're so few and far between, we just think, oh, it's a special project. But I think it's a lot, I don't want to say easier, but it's a lot more manageable to get a game out and have it look good like a Greedfall and have it achieve what it wants to do like Greedfall did without too many sacrifices and still make money off of it. You know, I think that's very well possible. I just think at the end of the day, I hate to drop the word greedy devs and stuff because you see that in like every fucking YouTube title and every article, and I just feel like greed has lost its actual meaning. Like people just think because a company likes to make money, you know, they're greedy.
Right.
It's like no, they're a fucking business. They're gonna try to make money to some extent. It's just about how much they want to like ham fist it into products. I don't think there's a general issue with people if there's skins in a game or there's some sense of monetization there, as long as it's A, not intrusive, and B, it's totally unavoidable. Like I think Odyssey is a good example where there were time savers there. I put 50 hours into the game. I didn't feel walled off. I didn't feel like I wasn't getting enough XP, or I'm a big stickler on progression. Like I like to be either getting a new piece of equipment, a new skill, a new ability, leveling up. Something has to be happening within like an hourly basis, okay? And if it's not, I get very disappointed with the product. But then you can have like that superficial progression. Like I'll bring up Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, where it was like the ISO 8 and the dust for the ISO 8, and then your character abilities, and then the goal.
Right.
Like it was definitely a free to play game before anything. I will put money on that. So yeah, there's a lot of facets to it. It's always a hard conversation to have because there's so many valid arguments on both sides, I believe. Karak thinks deeply.
I think the question is skewed on purpose, not because of what he wrote. But when you say defend, I think that's indicating that in some way there's like an instant wrong. And I would point to multiple games that are $9.99 that have micros that I think is completely legit. MMOs that are micros. And then the discussion breaks down even further to when is the price too much to have micros. And he didn't put $60 and instead stated the problem is anybody who defends it. Additionally, I think some people pretend that talking about is defending. And to me, that's in many ways sort of trying to pretend like they can curb your discussion about it. Not him, because he asked us.
Right.
But I think a lot of times people try to pretend like it's my way or the highway. And when it comes down to how games are delivered now, there's so many games. For example, Greedfall. You're completely right. You got a pretty good looking game, and it didn't cost them a bunch. It was $5 or $10 million. I can't remember what we figured out. They announced how much it was, but you have the certain amount of money. It also wasn't the kind of game many people expected 200 hours out of. Once you start getting these games that are services that are long time, or an MMO that's a long time, I think also to pay for developers, because if the game sells for 60, it's almost like somebody expects that they pay $9.99 in 1 month to get a free car wash as many times as they want, and they think $9.99 will get them free car washes for the rest of their life. And that to me is a little bit disingenuous as like a sticking point. If we're talking about $60, I don't like microtransactions day one at all. And I don't really think there's much defensible about that. Like that's a pretty solid point. Like to me, if it's the full price, there shouldn't be micros day one. But at some point, I guess I stop worrying about it if they're added later. For example, I hated Ghost Recons. But let's say Ghost Recons came 2 months from now, then depending on what they were still selling it for and stuff like that, then the discussion I think would slightly change. Again, depending on the price point. The price point's a big deal, man. If a game's like $10 and their entire business plan is on micros,
Right.
I'm not gonna say that they can't do that. That to me seems like a person doesn't understand the very basics of business, and that's a little nerve-wracking to me.
Yeah, I think people are having a tough time understanding what microtransactions. It's hard for me to even say so because everyone wants a stance on it. What side are you on? And I think with microtransactions, people struggle because there isn't a side, because every situation's different, because there's so many game prices, game types. Like, is it multiplayer only? Is it a single player game? Is it single player with the multiplayer expansion? Is it free to play? What are the microtransactions like? How are they delivered? How are they earned through gameplay? How much are you paying?
Yeah.
There's too many what ifs for every situation, because every company has a different financial status and a different goal, and they want to meet that in a different way. So Bethesda may price a loot box, or I'm sorry, a fridge in Fallout 76 at $7, while CD Projekt Red may be in a financial position where, okay, we're going to push 18 million units in the lifetime of Cyberpunk, so the DLC off the bat's free.
It's free, exactly.
And like, that's how we're gonna sell this game, and because it's gonna go off the store shelves, we can afford this, and we'll still make a ton of money. So it depends on where everyone's at. Where Bethesda's like, let's try to get blood out of a stone here. 76 is going down. Pay us $7 for a fucking fridge. Some YouTube memer guy will do it, and we'll make our money.
And I think both of you and I agree. If we pretend this isn't a discussion about all games, but just Ghost Recon, I've never heard anybody defend Ghost Recon's microtransactions.
No,
ever.
Definitely not.
As in this game or any, like, I've never heard it. In fact, New Dawn I hated because it had micros. Far Cry 5 I hated. Now, that doesn't mean the game sucks. You still have to review the game. You still have to actually cover the product. But yeah, dude, like, I don't know about you. I haven't seen anybody release a video saying micros are fine. But on the other hand, I'm not going to control them if they say that. I'll think they're wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, like, I don't know. Should you release a fight video every time somebody says something stupid on the internet? You'll literally never do anything else for the rest of your life. Right?
Imagine that.
Would you? Dude, can you imagine that? If you were just looking on the internet for shit to fight about, you'd never release another video. Just be constantly releasing those.
I thought you meant when someone... I totally misinterpreted that. I thought when you said releasing a fight video when someone says shit on the internet, I thought you meant like... You look up your name, someone's talking shit, and you send them like a video you shadow boxing, like you're knocking the fuck out for talking shit.
No. I just mean every time somebody has an opinion you don't agree with, you're just you're just releasing a antagonistic or anti video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody truly defending it. But if they did, whatever, I don't agree.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and like I said, I think because the industry's so like Xbox or PlayStation, like microtransactions or no, like it's always ticking aside, that people are having an issue with understanding like it's just a case by case basis.
Also, I don't know about you, Matty. Don't you find it weird that like in this conversation, this particular person is not representative of everybody, but he's also not alone. Where somebody would be like, I had this conversation with somebody and I was trying to prove them wrong. Now, I don't know about you, but like 90% of the conversations I have with friends are not about trying to prove them wrong about microtransactions in a game. It's very weird. I don't know if that's the group I live with, but our conversations are like, how you going to pay your rent, bitch? like, dude, you got to go to the doctor because you may have, you're sick or whatever. It's like real conversations, and it's very odd to have. We just don't have those kind of conversations. I think it's because I'm open and pretty blatant about it, so maybe they don't want to hear me if I bitch about it. Maybe they don't want to hear me be like, you're dumb. But I don't know. Do you have those with, like, you have that friend Vinny, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
So when you guys all get together, ignoring YouTube, by the way, so ignoring that you're a YouTuber, would you imagine having very many conversations where you were trying to prove to them they were wrong about, like, a game thing?
And I don't think...
Yeah.
No, because usually we kind of... I don't know.
Steer clear.
No, he plays a lot of video games. All my friends really do, so it does become sometimes game-centric. But, yeah, it's never really... I don't know. We like to dunk on each other, so, like, yeah, sometimes proving each other wrong can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I guess... It never, I don't know, we don't sit down and discuss microtransactions, for example. Like, we already just know it's right off the bat, it's a case-by-case thing. So we'll talk about Game X's microtransactions, if anything, but we won't sit down and be like, all right, let's debate this. Like, it'll be talking about the game first and then getting into the microtransactions, sort of.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you said, where everybody wants to be on one side or the other. And I, at least with the people I know, even in my Discord, we're usually not like that. Even though we may think that, you'll say it once, but it won't be a discussion. Mm-hmm. It'll be like, I disagree anyway. So how about that football game? If that makes sense. So it's just stating the point and moving on. Yeah.
Yeah. What is that stick you have?
I have no fucking clue, dude. I found it last podcast and I started playing with it and I was like, it really helps my like mental acuity and stuff if I continue using it like a wand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, as you were talking in sync, it was bouncing. I was like, wow, that's almost impressive.
I have no clue. No, I have fucking no clue what it is. But it's helped anyway.
All right, I respect it. With that being said, we move on to the patron questions. We appreciate all of you who get involved during the show and ask topical questions, but now it's time to shift our attention to the random shit you guys want to ask us. So, Mike Fury, we'll start off. I'm sorry, no, not Mike Fury. You thought, Mike. We're starting off with Coleman 3616. What do you guys think of Mountain Blade Bannerlord? I actually don't know shit about it.
Oh, dude,
I get asked about it on stream all the time. It's like the number one game I get asked about. Like, Matty, what do you think of Mountain Blade? I'm like, I've never fucking played it. It looks cool. I've watched gameplay on it. It looks really cool. The sequel?
I think you'd like it. Yeah, the sequel. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I think I would too.
It's just a different style of game completely. I'll just say I can't wait till it comes out, but there's not much data on it really on the sequel.
It's coming out in February, right?
Yeah, but they've pushed like, dude, this is a sequel from like 5 years or 6-7 years ago when the original came out. It's been pushed. Yeah, so I don't know if it'll for sure come out then, but overall, yeah, very excited. You know, Kingdom Come. You like Kingdom Come? I can't remember.
I like that game.
So it's like a janky ass but cool moddable version of Kingdom Come. I don't know, because it's got more realistic combat with like lances on horses and medieval. You know, you can get mods that have your guys starved to death, that kind of stuff. But you're in wars with like 600 CPU guys.
Yeah,
and
I saw it was kind of like the moving between the map was almost like I don't think RTS would be the right term.
But it is. No, you're right. It's like a top-down looking at that map, moving your guys around.
And then it goes into like action combat, like Lord of the Rings Conquest. Like I saw the bow and arrow gameplay. And I was like, that looks familiar. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think you'd dig it when this second one comes out. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, looks interesting. Mike Fury, now it's your turn. He asks, PlayStation Now prices dropped down to $10 a month. What do you guys think? Will it give Game Pass a run for its money? No, hold on. Here's the thing. First of all, I'm going to read what he actually wrote. All right, Mike, I'm picking on you now because I'm sick of this shit. PS Now prices dropped down now to $10 a month. What do you guys think? Will give Xbox Game Pass a run or its money? And it's edited. It's fucking edited.
I like that because he types like me. He types like me.
Yeah, he was clearly doing something. Mike, check your shit. Anyway, I don't think it will. I think PlayStation Now still sucks. Karak?
Yeah, me too. No, same.
Great. Yeah, I don't think PlayStation Now is going to compete with Xbox unless they let you download PS3 games, which they can't because of the infrastructure. So the system is inherently worse than the Game Pass.
Yeah.
JPat93 asks, do you guys see a broader list of backwards compatible games being available for the next generation of Xbox consoles? And do you see them becoming available upon console launch?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be great for them because it gives you that feeling of when you buy your console day one.
Right.
It's not just about what are the 3 launch games, but I can just throw in Fusion Frenzy and play with my friends.
Also, Microsoft's made it clear that backwards compatibility will be 100% anyway. So,
that's so awesome.
Yeah, if there's anything they're doing well. Dude, so did you know that they pulled the 360 team? They are done, unfortunately. They pulled they basically stated they need to make sure that the new Xbox is backwards compatible with what we're playing now. So the team like 2 months ago had their last 12 games, and then they were like, okay, now we're making sure that the next system is fully compatible with the current one you're playing.
What about the original Xbox?
Same. I haven't heard anything
Oh.
at all about. Yeah, because dude, so I know we're gonna mention some, but my favorite is a game called Rally Sport Championship 2. It's probably one of the best racers ever, and I was really sad to see that not make it because it was you could hack your 360 and play it backwards compatible, but there were some issues with fog and graphical issues,
Right.
and so a lot of people were like, oh, they're going to add it to that, and they didn't. And then when the Xbox X or Xbox came out, they were like, oh, they'll add it to this, and they didn't. There's a lot of original Xbox games I'd love to see.
Yeah, I just, oh man,
Is
Give me
Stranger's
definitely.
Wrath backwards?
that was original Xbox. I don't know actually. I mean, they had an HD remaster on PlayStation for it.
Yeah, what is it with those guys in Sony, right? They're
Uh,
definitely in love.
Yeah, I think they just went. I remember Oddworld has such a strange story because they obviously did Munch's Odyssey and then they shut down. They had a choice of whether they wanted to sell or just shut down. They decided to wait it out. And so they were closed and out of business for a while. And then with the digital storefront and like independent marketing, they were able to
Right.
like remaster some games, re-release them on PlayStation. Because I guess
And
that was
do
what
well
remember
enough
that was
to
when
start
Sony
back.
was like big on indie.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
they hopped back in. They did well enough. They did New and Tasty. That did really well for them. And then Exodus, they just had a ton of money. And they were like, all right, let's just go
And then
all in.
Limited Run eats up,
Oh,
or
God,
Limited
yeah.
Run allows them to not worry about the physical stuff. You know,
forgot
they
about
just
that,
give them the ISO and.
Let's see here.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's not backwards compatible.
This is a. Damn. I thought I just saw from the Oddworld Twitter account because I typed in Stranger's Wrath backwards compatibility and I saw a tweet from Oddworld that says, "Surprise! Oddworld Stranger's Wrath is," and I'm like, it said out now, and I'm like, okay, this is probably it. I click on it, and it says out now for Apple TV.
Wah wah. Well, I
that's
mean,
incredible.
I guess for them,
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
A lot of people asking for it though.
hmm
Get a PlayStation, everybody, or a Vita. You can play it on your Vita. It's on Vita, but not Xbox. That's crazy.
Like I said, I believe that remember what's his name, please? The main
Lauren
guy?
Lanning.
Lauren Lanning has an issue with Microsoft. Remember, and it's around Stranger's Wrath. Something about the person who was heading the department he dealt with at Microsoft, he was not happy with. Because I remember there were articles where he was unhappy with Microsoft in particular. Something about the way they handled either that game or some other title for them. And I remember he was shopping it elsewhere.
Wow.
Because I think they wanted to buy him, right? In fact, when they were doing bad, I'm pretty sure Microsoft was one of the companies, and he said no. He does
he
not.
turned down a lot of people.
He turned down a lot of people. I don't think he likes I think something burned him, and he
I know
definitely-
EA burned him with
did they?
Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. That was the story
How'd they
he
burn
told
him?
me. He said that they, because I was talking to him in person. I think he said they like pulled out at the last minute and his exact words were they literally fucked him, like, because they reached far to make this game super popular, and then like the funding was lost from EA, so because they pulled out like last minute, so they spent all this money I think on the game. And then it was just sort of like rug pulled out from under them, and they released it, and obviously to a loss. And that's why we didn't really see anything outside of much. I think we saw Stranger's Wrath afterwards, but that was about it, and that took a while.
And then Odyssey, Obsidian, Microsoft pulled out of the game that became Tyranny, because remember that was supposed to be an Xbox original, an Xbox exclusive, and Microsoft pulled out and almost bankrupted them.
Yeah,
I don't know how they repaired their relationship to the point. To
Yeah,
where
I was
they are
gonna
now.
say. I mean, clearly, it's a sign that all is not too bad between them because
Yeah, right.
they own them now, and that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy to think because a lot of people always say that like Obsidian hates Bethesda, Bethesda hates Obsidian. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they don't care about the fucking Metacritic deal anymore. Like, they're both very successful companies.
Yeah, I mean, right, and they also, other than a couple, I'm sure a lot of people have left from both companies. Well, I don't know. Maybe for those two, maybe not as many, but... Well, Bethesda, what's that guy who left Bethesda that you were talking about on a podcast after 12 years?
Matt Grandstaff?
Yeah, but was he somebody who would have dealt with, like, Obsidian during, like, the Metacritic deal?
Maybe in his position that he was in before he left, but at the time I think he did kind of like community management.
Oh, gotcha.
That type of stuff. Next question comes from Paul, formerly Dimples. What's the difference between a Metroidvania and a roguelike? I hear these words get thrown around an awful lot, especially when it comes to the indie scene. So I was wondering if you could elaborate for anybody in the audience, as well as myself. This is a good question because I think these two can get mixed together. Roguelike's really tough to describe at times because there's another rogue something.
Like. There's roguelite and roguelike.
Yeah, he's saying roguelike. But yeah, there's two rogue but Metroidvania I've always described as you go to a point in the game, you get a tool, and then you go back to an older part of the game, like one of the levels, and you see this wall that made no sense to you, and now this new tool that you can use can get you through that wall. So the idea is forward, back, and re-exploring old territory and unlocking new avenues that lead to the bigger part of the game world. I used to really hate them, but over time they've kind of become some of my favorite ways to explore games because I think it's really satisfying to just find a new tool and go back. Like I've been playing Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on my Switch, and it's been really neat seeing these wooden stumps and being like, what were these for again? I don't remember. And then going to a dungeon, finding the hook shot, and then starting to zip around to new locations or quickly traverse the world in a way that I wasn't able to. So there's elements of that there. So think of it that way. And Karak, feel free to correct me or add stuff in if I may be describing it a little too broad.
I think also it just includes platforming. I think that's one of the major components. But I will say roguelike and roguelite is pretty easy, even though devs themselves mess it up. First of all, I hate both terms. I think they're fucking it's just a mash. But with roguelike, it means it has similar elements, and with roguelite, it means it has roguish elements like permadeath and a new generation of hero. But their light indicates LITE, which indicates it has less it's almost like when you look at Dark Souls and then you look at a game that's somewhat like Dark Souls. Maybe it's a little harder. Maybe the guys are there and they can do more damage and you just fight a couple of them, but it's not as punishing as Dark Souls. And so people say Dark Souls light. So like and light is pretty easy to understand. But I just talked to a dev like 2 weeks ago and asked him in the podcast, like, hey, describe what your game is. And he's like, well, it depends on who you ask, because roguelike and roguelite are over the top of each other. So even devs don't use them correctly. Yeah. And Metroidvania, like what you described, I think it's all that, plus usually it involves platforming, because it is just Metroid and Castlevania. Yes, which, to be honest, if you put, at least for me, Metroid and Castlevania, I wouldn't see a huge difference between them anyway. There's almost no reason for me to mix those two. I'd just be like, it's like Castlevania, or it's like Metroid. Yeah. You know, it's, I don't know, it's a weird description.
That's the thing is, I use it because I think it's funny when people go, stop using Dark Souls as a description for tough games. I'm like,
that's
what?
Dumb.
I can't stand it because I'm like, where do you think the fucking term Metroidvania came from? Metroid, Castlevania, to describe a type of game. Just like it's a Dark Souls style experience. Like that, I don't get when people, you see a third-person action game that's meticulously crafted to be difficult but precise, fair. Like that's a Dark Souls style game.
Dude, if anybody tells you to quit using that, basically they're telling you to stop using the English language. One of the reasons why you use like let's say the game is like Dark Souls or comparison, is so that you draw a very easy floor of understanding between the user and the person listening to the video. That's all it is. It's a comparison. And that's how you like pass data without describing Dark Souls again. Like what the fuck, or describing everything about the game. If you want to get it done in less than 50 minutes on your review, you use those words.
Fat Ragnar asks us 2 questions. Number 1, do you think that Microsoft will bring official emulation to PC? I ask because I really just want to play Gears 2 and 3, and I don't have an Xbox to play them on. Personally, I don't care if they are just ports with little or no graphical improvement. I just want more Gears on PC. I think your answer, Fat Ragnar, is going to probably be that Microsoft's going to push that subscription-based Xbox a little bit more instead. Like, hey, why don't you pay $5 a month for Xbox, and then you can play all these games. Instead of spending like $200, $300, bang, right on the spot, and doing it that way. I think that's what they'll probably do, which, in my opinion, means they may not officially emulate as much, because this is a way for them to make more money and sort of accomplish the same means to an end.
I'll go out on a limb and say within 1 year you're going to see a Master Chief Collection version of Gears.
You think?
I
a good
absolutely
prediction.
think. Yeah, I absolutely think we will see a Gears 1 through 5 collection on PC within a year.
That'd be interesting. I'd like that.
Dude, they've already remade Gears. What was that one called? I can't. Yeah, there was Ultimate Edition. Thank you. They absolutely know people want to do it. When you look at Gears 5, there was a lot of stuff there that you could tell they were trying with graphics and trying to get everything working. There's no doubt in my mind you will see some kind of what would you call it? The fucking, I don't even know what you would call it, but it wouldn't be the Master Chief Collection, but you know what I mean. It'd be called the Dom and Marcus Collection or whatever, and it will just be, it just will. I mean, that's their only big. What do you call it? Just like Forza, but Forza you can't do because it's racing, and I think it's a lot of repetitive cars and all that. But with Gears, it's different storylines, so it's easy to say.
What's interesting though is I don't know if Gears sold well. I know a lot of people played it through Game Pass and
Which
stuff.
one?
5.
Oh, I don't know if that matters. Yeah, I get you. I don't know how it sold either. I just think that what I mean is technology-wise, I think they were testing a lot of technology to get 1 and 2 working without having to have super powerful systems because they were not very optimized. The Ultimate Edition had some issues too.
Right.
Would you buy, if I said $60 for the Dom and Marcus We Love Each Other edition, would you buy that?
Just by namesake alone.
Just by namesake, so you could have it like it's them kissing on the cover. would you buy it?
I'd probably pick it up.
I think I would too.
I like Halo a lot more. It's I know it's not a hot take or anything, but it's definitely as far as I can think off the top of my head, my favorite Xbox franchise. I just love Halo to death. I grew up playing it. I think the stories are great. I've had so many memories tied to it. Gears less so because that was kind of a new era. I remember going in Xbox parties when I first got my 360, and that's all anybody played. And meanwhile, I think I was playing Oblivion. But yeah, I'd be interested in it. It's just that, for example, Gears doesn't have what Halo had. So they did Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think that was it for the Master Chief Collection at the time.
It was. There was no Reach at that time.
Yeah, and then Reach was still a great game though. So you had this outlier that you could have brought into the collection, which they eventually did. And it was yes. The outlier for Gears is Judgment, which a lot of people are that's not a good game at all. It's very boring and repetitive. And so I just feel they also lack that oomph there. There's a smudge on the series. Not that Halo doesn't. A lot of people didn't like 5, for example, and some people didn't even like 4.
And I'll go negative and say a lot of people didn't like ODST as much as the internet would have you believe.
Oh, God, yeah. I don't know why people are celebrating that. I mean, look, I liked it, but, I know for a fact.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I don't know what, that'd be awesome if you could find one of your viewers who loved ODST and have them come on here and try to sell me on ODST as being, far, far above the other Halos, because I played it, and it was a Halo game, but it wasn't whatever the term would be, the cherished little treasure that a lot of people say. I don't know. Sounds like you were the same way.
We'll take volunteers.
Yeah, we'll take. Yeah, I would. Because I don't. It sounds like you liked it, so obviously people liked it, but it just didn't work for me.
All right, question number 2 is actually about Halo. When do you think Halo Reach will be released on PC? It's been a while since the announcement, and they promised at least Reach will be released in 2019. I don't have time to keep up to date on the news. I'm just curious as to what went wrong in development to cause this delay. In answer to your question, Master Chief Collection already has a bad enough reputation. I think for them, they're probably just looking at it as if we want to get it out this year, let's promise that, and if they hit a hitch, they're not going to rush it out. There's no sense in hurting that brand more, because it sort of had a resurgence. People are like, it's good now. They added Reach. This is exciting, at least to the consoles. Sorry. And, I think that's why you're seeing maybe a little bit of a delay. They don't want to force it out.
Yeah, and fall is, they don't have a bunch of stuff coming out, so it could still be December or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of stuff start to happen in December. The industry's becoming a year-round thing now. We're starting to fill in the gaps because we're growing. So you're starting to see your summer releases. We saw in July, Dragon Quest Builders 2, not a big launch, by the way, but like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Like each month, you're seeing more big launches accumulate, which is good, I think. It shows that we're getting bigger. Like we had Smash Brothers Ultimate in December last year, and that was one of the biggest games of the year.
We had Resident Evil 7 in February.
January,
remember? January, dude, January.
Both Resident Evil games hit January, actually.
True. Resident Evil 2 did. Yeah. So to me, dude, I'd love that. I would love for some summer loving too, because I looked at my metrics for summer again this year.
Oh my God, July! Oh my God, holy shit!
Just was like, I'm not even working. Technically, I'm unemployed in July.
Yeah.
Like, I was just looking at it going,
yeah, bro. That's what I was saying. I was like, I feel like a failure. This is shit.
Dude, and I don't know about you, but I released shit in July. Like, as in reviews and stuff, and they're just...
People are on vacation.
Yeah, which I guess is the big thing. Yeah, true. And GTA did a July. GTA 5 was July on the 360. June or July, wasn't it? Because it was a summer. Oh, that's a little later. 5?
Yeah, GTA 5 was
a little
September
later.
13th, I think.
Okay.
Aunt Jemima's got another question for us. Do you have a favorite? Yeah. Do you have a favorite Souls-like game? What do you like? What would you like to see improve or evolve in the future of this genre? My favorite's definitely Bloodborne, hands down. Improvement-wise, though, I really liked what the Surge 2 did. The dismemberment for looting is just such a unique mechanic, and it works within the universe, and it makes combat tougher in a really unique way, because you could be like, I'll just hit this unarmed part, and I'll wipe this guy out a little bit faster, or I can target that really nice-looking shield and shred it off, but it's going to take a lot more time to work on it. Not like a significant amount, but like you have to focus on it, dodge a few more attacks. Maybe by that point, you're going to waste a battery charge and heal. I think that gameplay just has so much tension built into it because the systems are so refined. And I think that's what it's boiled down to with that genre. So it's what can you add systemically to an already tight combat system, which is really hard to do.
And I would say I would love for one of these games to release where the difficulty of the enemies slowly gets higher instead of the first guy outside the gate juggling you like a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the only reason why I say that is because if they gave gamers a tiny bit more time to become accustomed, instead of reloading, which Surge 2 does, which by the way needs to stop on death. They need to figure out a way around reloading. It needs to just be instant. But in Surge 2, you walk outside and it's like boom. Well, those couple guys weren't super tough, to be honest. They were probably easier than most Bloodborne for sure, and Dark Souls. But I would love to see them ramp it up over a slightly longer period of time so that people who go into it don't feel... Because, dude, I watched one of my friends play Dark Souls 3, and he was just like, what the fuck? It was Cadiz. He was just like, dude, I got to the first spear guy. Like, the guy, he's right... It's like the first dude. Yeah. He was just like, I had no clue. Also, I would love to see better animations. I think Surge 2 does a good job with warning you. Not warning you, I'm sorry, but good animations. And
when I got like that delay, like he pulls back and you're like, okay, jump, because then he's going to.
And when I got hit, I don't know about you, but when I got hit in Surge, 99% of the time, I was like, he probably did hit me. Not every time, but most of the time.
There was a couple moments like in the boss fight with the guy with the spider legs.
Oh, right.
That one was a little finicky. Like he'd slash and I'd be out here, but like I guess the hitbox, the way the camera was moving, and so he like caught me even though so there were some times I was like, that's a little bit of jank, but it was only during that fight.
But those are what I'd like to see fixed, so that if you get hit in those, if they're gonna punish you, they should also reward you with accurate fucking collision detection. Dark Souls 3 I loved, but man, it had those issues. Mm-hmm. There'd be a guy in Dark Souls 3 who would swing this way, but because I got around him, his animation, he'd basically go and he'd hit me anyway.
Okay.
I'd be like, come on, dude, come on. And I think Surge did a pretty good job too. I would agree though, that boss was he hit you, the depth perception was off or something. Like he'd swing and you'd be like, I'm nowhere near that into that tentacle.
I think it's because the camera was pulling in and out so much, because sometimes he'd come at you by like tumbling, and then sometimes he'd drop down and then swing wide, and there was no pattern to him, which was one thing I didn't like about him. It wasn't like it was hard. I did die a decent amount, but it was very much like, I know I can beat this. Like, I'm going to get to it. Just, I felt like I had to have a little bit of luck in the terms of how attacks patterned out. I don't
know about you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I felt like more so I had to like bait him to go. I'd have to go underneath him to force him to drop down to try to slam me. And I'd hop back out and then I'd target him. So it felt like I was more so working the system than actually like reading his mechanics and dodging properly.
What about the sub boss after him? I gotta know what you thought about the dude with the fucking mace who meets you. You are, first of all, any game.
I was so annoyed because I was like, oh fuck, boss fight done.
Yep.
Here's your item. Oh, what the fuck? Like,
when a quest giver gives you, by the way, guys, this is a rule. If a quest giver gives you a quest and you meet him halfway back to where he gave you the quest, he's a bad guy. There's no fucking doubts about it. And that dude shows up and I'm like, oh no. Because I just got done with a boss battle. I don't have my equipment, like, or, you know, because I drank my fucking, or not drank, but I, like, used whatever consumables. I used the bullets. What'd you think of him, though? Because I felt that he also swung the underswing with the mace, and he could hit you anywhere.
I was just about to say that. It was his way he tracked you. Like, if he was coming at you straight and you sidestepped, realistically, the weight of the mace wouldn't let him turn course
swing it around
and come right at you.
Right.
But somehow his course would start going like this, and he'd start curving at you, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? I sidestepped you though, and you'd have to, instead of timing your sidestep to avoid his tracking, you'd have to pretty much stand still and then sidestep right when he was about to pull up. And,
it was weird.
Exactly. It was not the mechanic, but rather how the pathfinding worked for him to attack you.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Shut up, Ming. I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt that. What'd you think of the bosses? Before we move on, sorry, I just want to know.
No, you're good. I like the game a lot. I'm not done with it yet. I'm on Gideon's Rock. I haven't played a lot of PS4 these last couple nights because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I've been working a lot on my projects and stuff. So it's been going well in that regard. But I finished the Greedfall, Borderlands, and then I've been playing Link's Awakening because that's a little bit of a shorter game and a palate cleanser. I'm not really. I've really liked the Surge 2, and I think I'll actually beat it, which I didn't expect to be doing this year. But it's just that good. It's just going to take me a little bit of time because also I was like in a rhythm. I got like I think 12 hours in, and then I was like, all right, I got to finish Greedfall and Borderlands 3 before I keep on with this because I got to review these games. And now I'm like, oh man, now I'm 12 hours in. I got to get into a rhythm and relearn the game to like get my flow back, which is going to take some time. And when I did hop back on, I fought this fucking giant armored thing that kicked the shit out of me. Like, I didn't scratch the thing, and I was like, I am too tired to try to figure this out, and went to bed. So I've enjoyed it a lot, though, and I remember you did. I would move on to the next question, but I'm getting one of those fucking collect calls, you know, those random fucking numbers that just give you
on your phone?
Yeah. Oh my god. Like, I'm just sitting here just looking at this number like, all right, yep, you're gonna probably tell me like, oh, your phone bill's late or some shit like that.
Or
it's
your
like,
internet's down, let me sign on remotely to your PC and fix it.
Yeah. Anyway, here's a more personal question from Patzer. Hope you're doing well, Patzer. As someone looking to improve their self-esteem via working out and dieting, how do you guys diet? I know that you've both said that you enjoy doing martial arts as well, and I cannot remember for the life of me which ones you guys do, but would you have any recommendations? Karak, this is all us, man. This is our question right here. Holy smokes. I'm curious about your workouts and diets. I don't think I've ever asked you about that, so this will be news to me. Do you even specifically have a diet? Because some people just don't. They just work out.
I'm low carb, intermittent fasting, both.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting has helped tremendously because low carb's a little difficult at times. Like you have a party or, you know, you go out. But mixing the two has helped tremendously. And then I work out 2 hours a day from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's like the workout time for me. So I wake up at 4 and I work out 2 hours. And then it also depends because I switch. I'm really weird. I'll do powerlifting for like 6 months and then switch to like running. I mean, I always run, but I switch to like more, whatever the term would be, less like bulk and stuff like that, and switch because I get bored. But I always do boxing every morning for an hour. And then martial arts is Kempo. That's one of the black belts. Goju-Ru's the other black belt.
Cool. Damn, that's sick.
You do Taekwondo, right?
I did. I had to stop it for a little bit just because of how timing was working.
Oh,
I did.
yeah, right.
I did martial arts for about a year. One of the best things I could have ever done. Highly recommend it. It teaches you a lot of like mental discipline. It teaches you a lot of patience, and it teaches you how to take care of your body a lot more than you'd ever think. Not like I was taking shitty care of it in the first place, but like stretching. Yep, there you go.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's instantly. It changes how you meditate. Really important stuff. But martial arts is something I really do recommend. If you're learning how to actually fight, Taekwondo, the style I was learning was actually like more of a self-defense. If someone were to attack me, it's not about spinning crazy kicks and shit. It's actually like, okay, someone's stepping up to you. How do you fight back? So not a lot of Taekwondo styles do teach like that, though. There are a lot about the performance, the art.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind if you do think about taking up a martial art. I feel like if you're going to do one, learn one that's going to let you protect yourself too. So do your research on the school you'd be going to.
So while he goes fix those, I would say you never said what you weigh, and you don't have to. I think one of the important things also is what you weigh, because like Matty will have an issue where he needs to bulk up but also not be fat from eating, which skinny people can still get a belly and be uncomfortable. And then I have an issue where I'll need to lose, especially because I do powerlifting, which you can gain weight. So I think that is one of the big things, is like the difference, how much you weigh. And you don't have to tell us. I'm just saying how much you weigh will depend on the diet you probably need, because like Matty's going to gain. Mm-hmm. He wants to gain. I want to lose. So I think that's important also when you look at diet, is like what type of diet. Because if you're trying to lose, Atkins and intermittent will definitely help you. If you're trying to bulk up, you might want to look at something different, like, where you're actually counting exact things and you're working out really hard. But I would say also for self-esteem, martial arts helps self-defense wise, like Matty was saying, versus like my wife does point fighting Taekwondo, which is what he was talking about, which is like spin kicks, breaking boards, looking cool. Nothing wrong with that, and it's helped her self-esteem. But most of the time, I think being able to defend yourself helps your self-esteem even more, because that's what I learned when I was a kid. And yes, people would say I'm overconfident, which is true, but it helps your confidence knowing or feeling like you're not a I don't know how to describe it. Not a victim. You're not a prey animal.
Yeah.
You're not a prey animal walking down the street of San Francisco or whatever. Like my friends, when I went to San Francisco, they felt differently than I did, because I could tell, because that's not their thing. So I was just telling him, Matty, when you win, I was like, he never said his weight, and I think depending on if you're trying to gain or lose, that'll depend. Also, probably, what type of diet you're choosing.
Yeah, I can answer a little bit better now, because as Karak mentioned earlier, when his dogs are barking, just my train of thought was so shit there,
dude.
So what I do is I eat a specific carb, fat, and protein amounts, and the reason I do that is because I would be bulking. To some extent, I've always said I don't want to be huge, because I do martial arts, so I don't want to be like a meatball on the mat, like this just fucking jagged edged guy who's just like throwing really heavy haymakers and stuff. Like, you want to be nimble. So I call it toning out. I build a little muscle and then I run a lot, and it sort of just keeps me in a constant. I've been in a constant shape of tone. I've never been like ripped, jacked. I've always just been like a toned kind of guy, and I've always preferred my body that way. It does feel good because there was a time, like from when I was 19 to about 21, I worked out a lot. And if you watch some of my older videos where I had a tank top on, you could definitely see I was a lot more cut. But I never liked my body that way as much as I do now, where I feel just in shape. But what I do in the terms of exercise is I like to run. Running is probably my favorite thing to do. And I keep it simple, because I don't like going to the gym. I don't know what it is, just I don't get in that excited mood to go to a gym, or when I'm in the gym I feel excited. So I like just your traditional shit. I don't do anything crafty, push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, and I do have a home bench. So I have it stuffed under my bed. I roll it out if I want to use weights. I have some dumbbells. Nothing crazy, and that'll run you $80. So nothing crazy if you want to have like a little home setup for, and get creative in the sense of, it's not just about like chest workouts on the bench. You can take 2 heavy weights and just step up onto the bench. That's a leg workout. So it depends on how you want to do it and what you're training for. For me also, I play a lot of hockey, so I don't want to get, that's also another one. You want to be nimble, flexible. You want to be big enough where you don't get knocked off the puck, which is building a whole new type of strength. For that, you want to build more core strength and leg strength, because what happens is you don't want to get body off the puck. And it makes a difference, because like I didn't work out and people would shove me off the puck, no problem. I started doing, like, I went to the gym for a while, and I'd take like weights and put them on almost a sled, and I'd push the sled and start to build like hamstring and just being able to move heavy objects with ease, and you get used to that, and suddenly you're the one moving people off the puck. So have something in mind to train for sure.
I think it also depends if you're introvert or extrovert, because if you're introvert, then like what Maddie's saying, at your house, that works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If you're extrovert, a team activity can help you so much, because first of all, don't injure yourself, by the way, because they say like 90% of dieters injure themselves, which is worse than if you didn't work out. But if you're an extrovert, fucking find a basketball team. My wife does co-ed soccer at a recreation center, and she got a friend. She was like,
your wife's got to be in good shape.
Yeah, she works out a lot, and I think that's a big thing, is what you like, what your social dynamic is, because having a friend with you helps, or a team can help a ton. Because man, if your friend's calling you to say, Maddie, why aren't you at the hockey game? You're like, oh, there's a social responsibility that builds up, which helps, because there'll be times where you'll wake up and be like, I feel like dump, I'm tired, and then your friend calls up and they're like, dude, remember the game tonight? And you're like, yeah, that helps, man. If you have to be, of all my friends, I think I'm the only one who can work out really hard on my own. Most of my friends are they need that other person or a team, to get them out of bed. I
feel it's in our DNA, thanks to our job, though, to be a little more self-motivated. We don't have a boss or like a time to check in, so you have to be disciplined, responsible. And so I just feel like that's kind of carried into a lot of facets of my life. Like I have to be smart when I eat, because here's the thing: is I am skinny. I do have a fast metabolism, so I could eat like shit. Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say. I could eat like shit, but I'm sitting most of my day. So like after this podcast, I will probably eat dinner. I'll chill for a little bit, let my body digest, and I'll probably go on what would be a nighttime run, and I'll go around for like 45 minutes to an hour and just run it off. Just because you got to get that heart going if you're just sitting there. But Karak made a really good point about if you're sick, don't work out.
Yeah.
If you think if you feel like you're not doing enough, don't instantly increase the weight to like 40 more pounds and be like, I got this, and then hurt yourself. Worst shit you can do, because then you'll be in worse shape after a workout rather than how you were before.
Do you guys have a lot of injuries in hockey?
I hurt my back. I hurt my back last year. The way I got hit into the boards one time, like it like my I think my body was facing the wall, right, and then my legs were facing straight, and someone hit me, and I just kind of like, the way my back was twisted, but my legs stayed the same way. It hurt like a bitch, and I couldn't go to martial arts for about a month because like my tailbone like just hurt. Like it was just, you gotta rest it, because if you rotate it too much, it really stung. So we don't play like huge heavy hits, but you play physical. It's just
and you can just fall or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Or do whatever. Yeah,
it is just a physical sport. Like everyone's moving fast on ice. Like you're gonna hit into someone at some point. So it's I love it though.
In your game, do you guys ever have the full on? No, that's what I
mean. I've had people. I've had one guy try to fight me, but like I was
really?
I mean, he was a fucking 40-year-old. I was like, I'm not gonna drop my gloves and fight you here. Like,
because it's a recreation.
I was like, I told him, I was like, we could fight off the ice if you really want to, and then he just fucking skated away. I was like, okay, like, but
because you're at a recreation, you're at an adult. You're not like 9. So you're not in like a youth center doing
No,
this,
it's
right?
like
You're
like
like
it's
in
like a
a
recreation. League.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, if you want to fight, like we'll have a legitimate fight off the grounds of the facility. But, you know, just like I'm not gonna square up with someone on the ice here, because it's not like that. It's just for fun. But hopefully we helped you out, Patzer. All right, next question comes from Black Dow. I feel like you probably stated your opinion on this before, but what's your favorite Fallout DLC in the franchise? Wow. Franchise-wide is always tough because there's one very good one for each game. 3, New Vegas, and 4.
Far Harbor.
Yeah, Far Harbor's great, man. That's the thing. I thought of that right away. I was like, it might be, but I love Point Lookout for Fallout 3. I love the pit.
Did you?
I love Lonesome Road. Lonesome Road might be, I don't know. Lonesome Road's very, very, very dialogue heavy, though. Very dialogue heavy.
Right.
I feel like Far Harbor kind of crosses it all between. There's a lot of dialogue. There's more choices. You sympathize with the right people. And it's great exploration. So, oof. I might actually... Far Harbor's left a really good taste in my mouth.
Do you know the one that didn't? For me, was our Anchorage. What was the one?
Oh, Operation
Alaska?
Anchorage.
Yeah,
that one wasn't that great. It was okay.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it.
It was one of those DLCs. I feel that. Have you ever had like a game release DLC and you're like, this is very clearly for like lore freaks or hardcore fans?
Yeah.
I felt like Anchorage was this thing that like built on pre-war lore, and you're like, oh, cool. You know, this could be interesting, and as a fan, I liked it, but as like a gamer, I don't think that's like, oh, I gotta play that. That's how I view it, at least.
Yeah.
I can't really answer that blacked out because I would change my answer probably every day. Right now it's Far Harbor. Tomorrow I could tell you the pit. The day after that I could tell you Point Lookout, but that's probably the order in the top 3 if that helps you. Lonesome Road would be in the top 3, just it's so dialogue heavy. It's really about a story experience and kind of wrapping up Fallout New Vegas in a very creative way.
What's the best DLC ever?
Ever?
Yeah, so
easy. Burial at Sea Part 2.
Burial. from BioShock?
Infinite. Absolutely.
Really? Why is that?
No questions asked. That is that the way they tie things together is a stroke of brilliance. I like how they added stealth gameplay. If Irrational Games didn't go under, that gameplay system we saw was the future of BioShock. Kind of like a blend between Infinite and 2. Where there was more, 2 had a little bit more stealth because you'd have to take pictures of people and stuff, but this one gave you a crossbow. I really liked Burial at Sea, and I thought it was sheer brilliance how they tied things together.
Very
incredible. Cool. What about you?
Probably Jack the Ripper for Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Oh yeah, you like that one a lot.
Yeah. I was just a big fan of Syndicate overall.
Right.
Jack the Ripper's one of my favorite like lores in real life, so I loved it.
Yeah, that's an interesting fit. You can always count on Ubisoft for something like eccentric like that.
Yeah, you can't. We'll look at Atlantis for like Odyssey.
Oh my God,
there's they always do something crazy.
And that one looks beautiful. I remember Crazy Herb was posting on the Patreon Discord like all pictures of it, and I was like, "Woo, that looks mad good."
Yeah,
crap.
he was showing me that. I was just like, I want to play now. I never got a chance to go to it.
Sam. Last question is Grimblade. Whether or not you have played it, what are your thoughts on Untitled Goose Game and how it has become a viral sensation? Yeah, this one caught me off guard, man. I'm sorry, that's not the last question. But we're still gonna answer. I thought this was like supposed to be like a game that was announced as a joke and then people ended up making it real. But then I was looking up gameplay and I'm like, is this like Hitman? In a sense?
I mean, not really. Well, it is sandbox. So I guess, yeah, Hit Goose. Yeah, true. Never thought about it that way. I think it's fucking a stroke of genius.
Yeah, I mean, it was the #1 selling game on Switch at one point in the eShop. That's crazy.
What? Was it?
Yeah, the developer
Untitled
posted
Goose...
it.
Oh, dude, so good for them because it got created on accident too. Dude, I think Untitled Goose Game is like Oxenfree for me.
You like it a lot?
Well, I like it a lot. I haven't got to experience very much of it, but all the people that I pretty much trust who played it are like, dude, this game is legit. And then I watched a Let's Play one of my Discord people did, and I think it is well worth the accolades it gets, if that makes sense. It is not just a viral sensation because it's the new fucking, water bucket challenge or whatever.
Oh, it's like just a good game.
Dude, yeah, like you'll like go into a spot and it'll be like, steal this old lady's book or whatever. But to get away from her, you're like grabbing her plates off the table and flicking them. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's so, you're an angry goose. What the fuck? But Matty, it's a stroke of genius. Like, you should stream it, because not only will you get you'll get a ton of people watching, but it's just so sandboxy. So I guess you're right. Hitman is, in a way, like Hitman sandboxy, so is it. And I love that art. I love the nostalgic pastel color.
Yeah, it looks interesting. All right. Well, we actually have a good chunk of questions. Not a ton.
Let's do it.
Adam, Destroy the Grave. Are there any traits of people who want to make it on YouTube that you see right away if they'll succeed or flop on the platform?
Is there a trait? What? Parse that for me. What now?
Are there any traits of people who want to make it on YouTube that you see right away if they'll succeed or flop on the platform? As in, new YouTuber comes into your line of sight and you're just like analyzing him as a person. Is there a trait you see in that person that shows if they'll make it or break it? I hate to say it, YouTube can be it's a lot of hard work for sure. There's no doubt about that, but it's also a lot of luck. You gotta have
okay, thank you.
Good timing.
That's what I was thinking. Go for it.
You have to have a lot of luck. I think I've met, I do a patron consultation session where I help patrons build channels, and it always works. I've helped 2 people build their channels and they found success. But the key thing is always sticking with it, showing some determination, and being willing to experiment. Those 3 things always are so key, because so many people don't want to go outside their comfort zone, or they don't believe in that. I remember I had a patron, I was like, try something different, try something different, try something different. I kept beating that into his head, and then one time he finally did, and his video did really well. I was like, see? I said, you can still do this, but like try just mixing different things. Because I said, as of this point in time, I was like, I think he had like 500 subs. I was like, you're not obligated to anything right now. I said, there's a lot of room to glow.
Right.
I said glow. A lot of room to glow as well, but to grow. And I was just like, don't tie yourself down to one thing already. Try things, wait for something to hit. And something did hit a little bit. And then you mix that in and start to develop your own reputation for a certain style and type of game.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's so much luck. You'll see somebody who does amazing, I don't know what the term would be, like voiceover, let's say, and analysis, and you'll be looking at their video going, what the fuck? They've got like 600 people, and people have Reddited it, but it just didn't catch on, and then somebody else will do some jackass thing, and it'll do really well. YouTube's really tough. So is Twitch. Sorry.
Yeah. Ben Jam asks us, since Halloween is approaching, do you have any ghost stories / unexplained things that have happened to you? I was actually just telling a funny story last night. No, 2 nights ago. I was having a dream, or technically a nightmare, when you think about it. I was asleep in this bed directly behind me, and have you ever had a dream where you like can't move in the dream? Like you feel very weak, tied down.
No, but
almost.
I know what you're. Oh yes, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And so I was sleeping, and I guess I had a butler in this house, and mind you, it was in the house I'm in right now, which is kind of strange because I don't live in some type of mansion. And so all I hear is
they're living next to you in the closet and shit.
Yeah. And all I hear is like, time to wake up, sir. That's all I hear. I'm like, time to wake up, sir. And I'm just,
what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like trying to wake up. That's the thing that's happening. I'm trying to wake up, and I can't wake up, and I keep hearing, it's me, sir. Time to wake up. I'm like, who the fuck are you? And then like this is the part that confuses me. I either woke up in my dream, or I woke up in real life. And I believe I woke up in real life because when I woke up, I saw what at the end of my bed, like standing right here, what looked like, for my Persona fans out there, Igor, like long nose, suit, big hat, and mind you, this is in the pitch black, and like I was delirious, I'm like tired, and I remember like gasping audibly, like like that, because I got scared, and I just like a fucking savage, I leap out of my bed at this figure, and I don't know what it was, but I landed, and I think I fell asleep on the floor or something. Like, I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm a very sound, peaceful sleeper. I don't snore, like none of that shit. I've never had that happen before where I'm like, did I actually see someone there? Or
Did you wake up on the floor?
no, I woke up in bed. So that's why
Okay.
I don't know if like I woke up in a dream
Right.
and like went at this guy, or if I woke up in real life, went at him, and then like in a sleepy daze, just like, oh fuck, okay, back into bed I go.
I don't think I can top that. I do. So they want real creepy things.
Yeah, he said, is approaching. Do you have any ghost stories or unexplained things that have happened to you? I don't know if he's asking for creepy, but I mean, hey.
So I have two. One I just don't want to get into, but I'll say the subject. I don't know what I saw, but I swear to God it was Bigfoot. And as a hunter for like 25 years, every hunting person with me saw the same thing, and none of us, like my dad's 90 now, he had been hunting for 50 years. I legit don't know what I saw. It was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. It's too long of a story. But the other one was my grandfather died. My mom called me and said, your grandpa died, and Grandma and I are at the hospital. We're going to take care of what we need to, and we'll come home. So I hang up the phone, and I'm playing with my brother. We're playing Genesis. This is how long ago it was. The phone rings. I pick up the phone, and on the other line, and I think I told you this story already, but on the other line, the person just says, don't worry, your grandpa will be fine. And I thought it was a relative who heard and was just like saying heaven or something. I don't know. And when they hung up, I said, who's calling? And they said, Gertrude. And I was like, okay, I'll tell my grandma. When my mom comes home, my grandma walks up to me, she hugs me, and I said, by the way, Gertrude called, and she slapped me. My grandma slapped me. My grandma has never hit me before.
What the hell?
I was like, what the hell? And she's like, my mom goes, who? And I said, Gertrude. She said, Gertrude's been dead for 15 years. And I was I was like, wait, what? Like, that's impossible. For sure was like, and they said, then they started quizzing me, like, what'd she say? And I said, she just said, well, that was my grandmother's sister who had passed many years prior. And I still to this day have no clue what happened. But I don't even know a Gertrude. Like, the name doesn't even like ring a bell. And I was very clear. And not to be rude, I wasn't shook up by my grandpa's death because it was time.
Right.
Very time.
You knew it was coming.
And he needed to. He had asbestos poisoning from working in World War II, so he had bone cancer. It was like, it was time. There was no sadness. It was like, this is a good time. I still to this day have no clue what happened.
That is
None.
crazy.
But it was legit creepy. And then I didn't want to act like it was creepy in front of my grandmother, so I was just like, okay. And then they said, oh, it was a blah, blah, blah. And I was like, maybe. But then I told my brother, I'm like, and my brother's like, you said it was Gertrude right when you got off the phone. I'm like, I know, but I'm not going to. And it was a weird message. It wasn't like, tell your grandmother. It wasn't anything else. It was like, do not worry, your grandpa will be fine. And I thought it sounded weird, but I just explained it in my head as somebody who is highly religious, calling up to say,
Wow.
it's a better place or whatever. Yeah,
Wow.
It was a weird one.
That is crazy.
Have you ever seen any UFOs or anything? Because, I've seen only one thing in the sky, and I don't really claim it as anything other than probably an anomaly. In New York, in where you are, at least East Coast, you don't see the sky as brightly as like I do in the Pacific Northwest.
No.
But have you ever seen anything?
No, not that I can think of.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in that in particular.
Yeah. I'm a believer that there's aliens. Like I'm just like, you think you're the only ones here? Come on.
Yeah, but here is I think the big question, right?
Yeah.
Like same thing.
How about Midnight Club though? Paul wants to know how we feel about Midnight Club.
Well, that's a jump. He means the racer, right?
Yeah, he literally said, "How would you guys feel about another Midnight Club?" And he misses playing Midnight Club LA, where you can floor it through Los Angeles, blasting "As I Lay Dying" like the true badass you are.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't remember much about the. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. I was sitting back because I was like, I didn't fucking play this game.
Nah.
Sorry, Paul. All right, last question. Typhus76. Having just watched Karak's review on Ghost Recon, I have more of a concern than a question. If the studio is putting more time... I'm sorry. This question came in the middle of our show, so we actually didn't see this for the Ghost Recon section.
Oh, okay.
I have more of a concern than a question. If the studio is putting more time into microtransactions than they are copying and pasting a game, then how far along in the patches will there be more transactions put in than actual game fixes? As he called you Carla. As Carla said, they removed some of the transactions, but how long till they put them back in?
I will state, I think Matty will agree that the two different divisions work on those things.
Mm-hmm. That's why you see like
Microtransactions
monetization experts being hired for games.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Or MMO prior to Inquisition being released. And we sort of knew where that was.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I don't think they even, even talking to the sound designers today for Gearbox, they have very delineated groups for like vehicle or guns versus this. I don't think they work at all like connected in that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I just... When a game starts to get marred like that, I don't know. I just steer away from it. I almost block it out. I don't even know if it's a self-defense technique in my head. Like, I'll just ignore it exists, but I'm just like, why am I going to waste my breath on it? I think it's better just to not talk about it at all. Why give it a chance?
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Just because so many people are already talking about it. I don't know. It's not that I don't care. Just...
Well, sometimes, I don't know about you, but how can you add... Other than for hits, can you add something? Like, you can't add anything.
And that's not to take a shot at any other YouTuber out there, but as someone who's very creative at heart, if I put out a discussion video and I don't feel like I'm adding like a unique take or like, oh, this is my perspective could be a game changer for some folks if they hear what I have to say. If I don't feel that, I don't make the video. Like, I just like I'm just I could just read a news blurb. But who can't do that?
And you have a lot of Twitter fans, and I think people don't realize that a lot of YouTubers, including myself and you, if we have something small to say, we'll also just use Twitter.
Yeah, I'll just throw it out there, and I'm like with Shawn Layden. I was like, do I make a video about this? No, I just think it's weird. I shot out a tweet. No, I don't really.
Exactly.
I don't trust this. And that was
exactly. I think that. So follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go. And that will do it, Karak. Last question, last topic. Finito.
Excellent.
And our weekend begins. Well, mine does.
I like the Patron questions. Those it's cool to cover the news, but it's always cool to get weird questions. I don't know why. It's always fun.
I feel like it's a good avenue because we know each other well and we talk all the time, but yet we just get to know each other even more. Which is
about
really
stuff
good.
We wouldn't like. I mean, unless you and I were sitting after a podcast and I said, "Do you believe in UFOs?"
Yeah, exactly.
Which you'd probably be like, "Why are you asking me that?" It's cool. You'd be like, "Dude, I'm not joining your cult." It's cool to have those kind of things. I'm glad people do it. It definitely helps.
I absolutely agree, and we appreciate all of you for like legitimately being a part of the show. You know that the show has improved drastically, and I think. With our uptick in a little bit of listeners and our uptick in patrons, it seems some of you are inclined to agree. So keep the feedback coming, keep the questions coming. More importantly, because we want to keep this show rolling. We appreciate you so much, Karak. Any final thoughts?
I can't think of any.
All right,
prepare your wallets, baby, because fall is got some.
Got some games coming out, just a few.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's not necessarily big for Matty and I, but there's a lot of like even bit middle and little. Yeah, it's gonna. I just looked at the release schedule while you and I were here, dude. Grid, because I'm a racing fan, I had forgotten that's coming out. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Outer Worlds is gonna be huge for you. Like it's gonna be really enjoyable. I think this fall.
I can't fucking wait for the Outer Worlds. You have no idea.
What are you going to do? Ignore the review part for a second. Oh, sorry. And we can stop this. I was just going to ask you real quick. Have you decided, like, are you going to do a Let's Play? Probably not. But, have you even thought about it above, like, maybe your weapon? You've done a weapons video before on a game you really like.
Yeah, I tried it with Borderlands, but I was just because of the way 2K and Take-Two handled review copies, I was way too late to that to try that original plan I had. And that kind of bothered me because, like, you know, that they gave so many YouTubers a fucking huge head start on that, like 12 days worth. So in a perfect world with the Outer Worlds, I would like to do guides for sure. Not because I'm a guide guy, but just because with Skyrim, I did a ton. Like one of my favorite stints of like creating content was when I did Skyrim rare weapon guides. I fucking loved doing that because it's just fun to show people a discovery, and then now that I'm more elaborate, I guess, and intricate in how I make videos, to show them the stats and how it works and special effects and little fun facts and the lore, making it into a comprehensive, like, everything you need to know now about this weapon or this armor. I really like the idea of that, but, you know, obviously discussions, like you said, the review, that's a given. When it comes to Let's Plays, I do probably a highly edited single playthrough and see how that did. Like, you know, here's a 15-minute episode, jump cuts everywhere, me just being a dumbass while playing the game. See how that works. See people like that. Called, like, Outer Worlds the Supercut. Number 1.
Yeah, it's hard to know how to cover that game. I've thought about it a couple times.
Yeah, it is.
You're better at covering. I've really not been great at covering one game in multiple ways, which is why I was asking you what you were thinking of doing. I think the guides for you'd be fun.
Well, yeah, I think Greedfall was probably my best example this year because I didn't get it super early, but I got it early enough to, like, okay, impressions, guide, gameplay.
Oh, you did
coverage,
a guide
review. Yeah.
What was your guide for on Greedfall?
Tips for beginners.
Greedfall.
Yeah, tips for beginners. Like, I told them get intuition because that's like a no-doubter. That one gives you a lot of speech options. Like, I told them how to, like, get money. I told them that skulls on enemies don't mean that you can't fight them, just that they're going to hit you like a fucking bus, that kind of shit. So,
cool.
Stuff that, because I thought, normally I don't like to do beginner's guides because I'm like, most people are smart enough to figure out a game and just understand its systems. But I was like, hold on, people don't really know what Greedfall is. You know, it's like a AA game and it may not be as popular. I was like, maybe people will use this starting guide to learn the systems that they could possibly just buy into with the game.
And they may not know the skill. They may not know, like, lockpick is needed, intuition is
Inquisition
needed.
is not needed.
Inquisition is not needed, Jesus. But yeah, I think those are actually useful for people, especially because you're a bigger channel. So it's like, then people can look at it and go, oh, okay. You know, this person's played through it. Yeah, I was just wondering how you're going to cover that one. It's going to be
that's kind of my
a unique title, too, because it's shorter.
Yeah. Or it's supposed to be. Greedfall, they're like, yeah, it'll be 20 hours, 30 hours.
True.
And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm 45 hours in, and I still had shit left to do.
47. Yeah, exactly. I think they did exactly what companies need to do and undersell.
Smart.
Dude, it is.
I think it makes it more attractive. But might because I'm getting older.
Yeah, and then if it takes longer, you feel... whatever the term, like, not gratitude, but you know what I mean? Like,
if the game's good, you feel like, all right, it's still going. But if the game's bad, then you're like, holy shit, end already.
Yeah. Well, that's true, too.
Because I've definitely had that.
When are you doing your review for... Are you just skipping completely, then, a review for Borderlands? At least
no, I just released it yesterday afternoon.
Oh, okay. Haven't looked at my emails.
No, you're good. Gotcha. I want to review Medieval.
What...
I want to review the Call of Duty game. Concrete Genie might be I thought about it, but that might be a little too soon.
Call of Duty, I forgot.
Yeah.
Dude.
And that's the same day as the Outer Worlds. 25th. As far as I know, that's the only, like, rough stint, though. For you, it's a little more rough because you're doing grid.
Yeah, grid. It'll be interesting to see how I pack that in. I'll probably have to or 3. But
yeah.
You're not doing any other than Forza. You're just not. Forza just delighted you because it was open world and stuff, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it just hit the right note for me. And I don't know. It's because I predict in 2020 things will settle down where I'll be able to experiment more. But this year, because I wasn't getting review copies, I haven't gotten one since Rage 2, really. Like an actual, like, hey, here's a game. Here's a couple of days to play it and review it.
Right.
I really haven't had that. So, you know, I've had to be very picky on what I play because I've been playing everything on launch day, not like ahead of launch where, like, by the time the game comes out, I'm already done with it and looking to the next thing.
Right.
So yeah, it's been I've been like not able to I've been able to experiment, but like more precisely. Like I haven't been like, oh, let's try this racing game. I think that's why the Surge 2 was also such a delight, because I didn't have time to experiment. And I said, let me try this out. Like I haven't played a Soul style game in a while, and then I thought I was gonna play for a half hour and just make like a quick hot take video, and I was like, no, shit, this is really good. I'm gonna play for what ended up being, I think, 9 hours before I posted my impressions.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
What'd you think of Borderlands when you got done? What'd you rate it?
Wait for a sale.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I said to people it's very good after the story. There are a couple of side quests that are like outliers that are really funny, really good. The shooting, looting's fine, but I had too many glitches, too many bugs. Yeah, felt in the I showed them all. I showed them all that I recorded throughout my playthrough. Like, just shit was not working in that game. Too many hiccups. Took me way longer to get through a playthrough than it should have, because I had to keep restarting, and then I just wanted to take breaks because I didn't want to play it. Where ultimately, when I got to the end game, and I've consistently played it since beating it. Like I'm about to hit level 50 with Flak. I'll move on to a new character. Like I've been really enjoying it now that the story's over. But that's something I've never had with the game before. And so I think it's a testament to how the end game saved it, because it is very good, but also it's a testament to how the game needs improvement. And some of it's just baked into the design of the game. Like the writing can't be patched. Writing sucks.
Yeah, it can't. Yeah, they're not going to patch. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah. One of these days we will. I've seen technically writing be patched in the terms of like Witcher 3 patched the font size. Where technically it patched the writing, but
yeah, technically.
We need a hashtag for this week, and
I was gonna say, where's Shawn from Sony, or what's his name?
I like that.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up and be like, but I just
where's
didn't know.
Shawn?
Yeah, where's Shawn?
We've had a lot of more tweets coming in, too. We really appreciate that. So, especially if you got through us bullshitting here at the end, then let us know on Twitter at G27status or at Jeremy Penter. You can go ahead and send either of us, or preferably together, the hashtag where's Shawn. And let us know what you thought of the show, what we could do better. Someone sent us in a message saying the hashtag for last week, and they were like, I don't know what to write, but just keep up the good work. And it's like, the hashtag is just what you have to write. If you want to put any additional thoughts afterwards, that's totally your choice.
True. Yeah, true.
And I think what we should do is maybe, wow, this is a great idea. Hold on. What we should do, and we'll make this more of a thing next week, because maybe we'll announce it in the beginning of the show, is we'll look at the hashtag when we're getting ready to record, and we'll read maybe some like interesting or funny responses or shout people out.
Yeah.
Because it'd be easy to search out. Where's Shawn? That's just type that in on Twitter. So, leave us some thoughts. You can get witty if you want, or you can just tell us what you're thinking of the show. What could be better? We'll gladly read it off.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be awesome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Karak, thank you for your time. Appreciate you as always. And we will catch you guys next week with episode 223. Peace out.
Peace out.